My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. It's only too bad Valiant beat him to Gutfeld.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
There he goes again. Honey Badger gonna do what Honey Badger gonna do. Scooping and scooping and scooping.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Son of a definitely remark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Blimey, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. And welcome to Provision 3D.
Alright everyone, put on your coffee glasses. Oh boy,
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
Alright, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man!
Are you okay?
They'll never take
of freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the show that explains entertainment and gives journalists the next day's headlines. It's the Pro Show Live!
All right, folks, hello, howdy, and how are you? Welcome to a happy Friday to one and all. You all could be anywhere tonight. You could be doing anything because you are the best looking, best dressed, and most impressive audience the YouTubes have ever seen. And yet here you are, joined with us in one accord to talk about Star Wars, because it has turned into a dumpster fire unlike anything we have ever seen, folks. This one is a Category 5 PR disaster, and we are here to reflect upon it in all of its horrible glory. Jonas J. Campbell, welcome back on a Friday night. We don't do these at this time normally, but this was some sort of roadkill we just had to stop and gawk at. How are you doing?
Oh my, yes we did. And you really could be anywhere on a Friday night. I could be anywhere on a Friday night. I see what you're doing out there, and I just want to encourage you to behave yourselves, just like I know you will. I'm proud of you, all of you out there.
That's right. That's right. We are fully uninhibited folks tonight, and we are ready to have a great time. I have been on the road traveling, just nonstop, a new state every single day. And so today I did a very rare thing, Jonas, and that is I took a nap. I know people out there think Pro never stops, but there was a 2-hour nap, not a 2-hour tour. And I find myself now here, joined with all of you and excited to do so. Jonas, we, though, are very excited to have a panel of true excellence ready to go. Are you ready to bring on this vast conspiracy of individuals who are in alignment in taking down the garbage that is Star Wars?
Absolutely. And I just want to point out that if we ever have to write down our criminal conspiracy, I would like to put you as the artifacts of our little conclave here. But that being said, let's bring
That's okay, Jonas. I've listed you already officially as the trustee, so no worries. No worries. I'll be whatever you need.
Not even the treasurer. I mean, come on. All right, let's bring in our murderers row of panelists here. First of all, you know him, you love him. Let's bring on the man who I think Chitara is really just pining for the fjords over this fella. Nolan Thunder.
Oh.
Are we doing conspiracy theories right here? Are we doing Illuminati already in the show since we're talking about? Also joining us, the man.
Folks, Nolan will realize later he's muted. Don't tell him. Let's just let this roll. Let's let it roll.
You know how everyone comes into the next week and they're going to be like, what did you do Friday night? I was on the Pro Show, baby, and it was crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Better than any bar
up those gang signs for the Crips. Now also joining us is a man from the channel, Follow the Bradley's Fun, Mr. Ron E. Bradley. Hello, Ron.
Welcome aboard.
Love you all.
That's a completely different gang sign.
I don't know. I don't know the gang signs.
All folks, he's doing the Macarena already. It's a happy Friday, I tell you.
You know, the Bloods have the most complicated gang sign. I feel like
Jonas, are you on a mission to demonetize us in the first 5 minutes? Hey, folks, let's sing a song about all the gangs that exist out there.
What? Who wants to talk? I mean, do you not respect the Latin kings?
Next up, we're naming the cartels in the first 5 minutes of the program.
All right. Well, anyways,
let's go.
It is a late night stream here. Anyways, let's bring on. You know him, you love him. He is well, he's not the king of Hollywood. He might be the shadow king of Hollywood, Mr. Lou Wasserman's ghost.
Well, thank you. In all those possible permutations in our, gang, I'll take unindicted co-conspirator for 20, please.
Gordon.
And Jonas, you better be good, or I'm going to get into former German leadership.
Oh no! Well,
Shut the
Jonas
place
is
down.
opening the doors. I tell you, floodgates
No,
have been open.
I said gerbils. I said gerbils. Anyways,
You mean Joseph?
late night
Would that be
stream.
Joseph Gerbils?
The worst of the marmots.
let's bring on a fellow who he's never trailing far behind. I like to call him Ozark Mac. So sorry, Ozark Matt. My goodness, it's like I talk for a living. Welcome to the panel, Matt Ankney.
Thank you so much. I think tonight I can best represent the panel as your licensed Star Wars therapist.
Oh my! And we definitely need that.
Trauma, so I'm here to help you all along, and maybe tonight we can get through some trauma. And
Matt, we don't need you though. Lucasfilm needs you. They're the ones who need the therapist. We're gonna ship you over there. We'll put holes in the box. We promise.
I've also brought along my cat. She's seen more Star Wars than the cast of the Acolyte. She's I mean, her to chime in later. We can do that.
I mean, Anakin blew up
my
the whole
spare
Death
tire
Star.
has seen more Star Wars than the cast of the Acolyte.
All right, we got two more panelists we want to bring in here. First of all, from Tooneytown Reviews, I'm sure you're going to correct me if I said that incorrectly. We've got Marvin the Movie Monster joining us here.
Oh, hey, Jonas. Sorry, I was just busy writing a song parody about street gangs. Hold on. I should have it ready by the second. I should have it ready by the second hour.
All right.
Something to look forward to, everyone.
And finally, as long
What's
as
a good
we're
word that rides with Shank?
You better not say finally yet, Jonas, because you've got two more guests in the backstage area.
Oh, we do.
We're doing a Brady Bunch tonight, folks. It's
all right. Now, since we're talking so much about gangs, perhaps we can bring in a little law and order. This is the guy I always love introducing him. He's a great way to start the day. He is Derek Anderson, otherwise known as the DA.
Yo, what's up, fellas? Y'all need all the gang signs, right? Because I know quite a few of them. Do you guys need me to demonstrate right now?
We know you put many of them away, Derek. We know.
The only one I know is VIP, and I can't do it right now.
Derek, knowing you to be the fine, upstanding Swedish man that you are, I think your cultural appropriation is really shameful.
Indeed.
Oh, man. I do my best, man. Come on, Lou.
Now, our last panelist, I don't think he's a member of a gang, but you might find him in a wretched hive of scum and villainy. No, not the Mos Eisley Cantina. Perhaps if there was one in Mos Espa. Let's bring in Mr. Lorne Connor.
Welcome aboard, Lorne. Happy to have you here with us as we do the shuffle. And now, folks, it's time for us to get started with a show of pure, unfiltered excellence, the kind that you demand and expect each time from the Pro Show. Folks, we are going to be doing almost entirely Star Wars news, and it is almost entirely unbelievably bad, unless you've been paying attention for the last decade, in which case, well, you know how this goes, but they've reached somehow a brand new level of insanity. Before we go to the news, though, Jonas, we have seen generosity flowing like manna out there in the chat.
Look at that.
Please, Jonas, share with the
let's bring it in.
Share with the audience the gifted memberships and super chats.
All righty. Packing Protons for 5. A rare picture of Leslie where her face doesn't have RBF on it.
Resting Bohiny face? Resting Bohiny face. Definitely. That's what that means.
We prefer Buhonkus in this house. Thank you very much, Packing Protons. Jeremy Winfield, member 411. Like when you do late shows, bro. Love ya, big guy.
Well, we try to do shows at all times. You know, folks wonder, why do you still do the Thursday shows twice a month? And the reason we do those Thursdays at 5 is because we realized that when we moved to the noon slot on Tuesdays, some of the folks out there were unable to listen in at that time, and they missed us. And we could not go on having that be. And so we made sure that we took care of everyone. And so every once in a while, a blue moon, if you will, we stop by late and do this, and we'll try to keep it great.
Now, when you told me that you want to stream at all times, I was starting to get the impression that you want to stream at all times.
Well, Jonas, that might lead into an announcement that we plan for next week. No, we won't say it. We won't say it now, but folks,
Ruby
a big
Hove,
announcement.
member for 1. Enjoying your content, Pro. Keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am. We surely will, as long as you're here to be the gigawatts.
And the Immortal Cockroach, member for 1. Hello, you beautiful bunch of weirdos.
Welcome to the
Right
club,
back.
all weirdos. Weirdos is in session for the eve.
And Ruby Hove gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much, Ruby Hove. We've got a lot of people gifting memberships here. First of all, one of my favorite people on the internet, Space Dave 2000, also gifted 1 WDW Pro membership.
Space
as well.
Dave 2000.
Perfecto. Also, Cyrano 2960 did. By the way, he's been feeding me lines to say in an earpiece all night long. Let's see here. Packing Protons for 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you so much, Packing Protons. Oh my goodness. Dustin Sensenig gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you so much, Dustin. And this is a person who is busting onto the scene here and is so very generous. Also a member of the Council of Waltz over there on That Park Place. Photon Empress gifted 50 WDW Pro memberships. Oh my goodness.
Now that is what we call generosity. Folks, take a look at this. Turning the entire chat green and preparing them to see another Genre Guys exclusive video coming soon to all of you. Jonas, we've got one more gifted membership, and then I think it's time to celebrate as we get ready to start the show.
Our Samuel Main man.
That's right. Samuel Main has delivered also a gift of kindness. Folks, let's start the celebration right now.
God dang it, from the bottom of our hearts here on the WDW Pro Channel, thank you.
Perfect.
I mean, that's pretty
all
cool
right.
there.
Thank you to everybody who is gifting memberships and the super chats. So kind, and you are seen and appreciated here on this channel. I'll guarantee you, we know, folks, without any doubt, that without you, none of this would be happening. You are truly
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
All right, so without further ado, Jonas, hold the rest of the super chats. We've got to get to the news tonight. And folks, it'll be all right. We'll come back. We'll get those super chats. No super chats left behind here on this channel. We never leave one astray. But folks, we must go our way straight into the news, and that is that apparently Dave Filoni of Lucasfilm, creative officer over there, has no clue, no idea what is happening in Star Wars. And frankly, folks, I am shocked that Dave Filoni really doesn't understand the story of Star Wars. Listen, for all his faults, for all his flaws, for the weak assembly of Ahsoka, I still thought he knew Star Wars, but apparently, maybe not. Or perhaps he's just so cowardly that when he is presented with an idea that opposes what actually is true in Star Wars, he simply can't say, no, actually, no. No, he can't do that at all. Let's get straight to this topic, folks. We'll blow it up so you can see it a little bit better. And that is out of thatparkplace.com. And congratulations, by the way, to John Trent, the editor-in-chief of thatparkplace.com. He has broken the record for readership every single month that he has been the editor-in-chief. Every single month, the site has grown leaps and bounds. And it is now, as we predicted, a premier pop culture news reference site, and is cited highly by Google and by other places. And the milestones are incredible. We're not going to get into the specific numbers of viewers, but John Trent has exploded the site, and we're proud of him. The article says, Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, makes bizarre claim. I don't think Anakin ever thinks he becomes evil in life.
Now,
guys,
I do want to ask you real quick. Do you think that Dave
Yes.
Filoni realizes that Anakin and Luke are two different characters? Just out of curiosity, because that's been called into question recently.
Well, we'll get to that story in a little bit, folks. You won't believe some of this stuff, but I listen. Part of the George must just absolutely not understand what even to say to some of this. Part of the entire thesis of Star Wars is that Anakin chooses. Let me say it again. And folks out there, you know this. Apparently you know better than the supposed expert at Lucasfilm. Part of the thesis of Star Wars is that Anakin chooses the dark side, that he is pulled to the dark side and he makes a conscious decision to embrace the dark side. And the thesis also is that Luke has that opportunity and that he decides to stay away from the dark side despite the temptations therein. But let's see what Dave Filoni actually thinks. Lucasfilm's creative officer Dave Filoni made the bizarre claim that Anakin Skywalker never thought he became evil. Filoni's claim came in an interview with Leslie Headland promoting her upcoming Star Wars The Acolyte series for Disney+. Headland says, "You don't wake up thinking you're evil or that you're the bad guy as explored by George with Anakin." Stop. Folks, we are listening to the woman who was the personal assistant to one Harvey Weinstein during the time that bad things were happening. We're not making an allegation against her. We're just simply saying that she was in proximity during that time, and she is lecturing us on when people know or don't know that they're evil or that they're the bad guy. Lady, you were around the chief bad guy. You were around the chief bad guy, and I don't see any evidence that there was anything happening on your side to stop said bad guy. Good grief. Panel, let's stop there. I can't even go further. Let's just deal with that. I don't want to hold back anybody. Please.
You've just hit on something, as always, vitally important. Bad people do not wish to acknowledge that they see the difference between good and evil, because if they do, that knowledge obligates them to take a stand for evil. And God forbid they should ever be considered evil, no matter how evil they are, because we all know they're the pure, they're the anointed, they're the good people in this world, right?
That's very well said.
So never mind about her former employer, who's now going to be retried with more witnesses and more victims and more charges, we're told. What about her statement that the great, wonderful, beautiful character that she always admired was Ursula?
Yeah.
That's what every child looks up to.
What about her?
Anybody?
And what about her?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Her statement about the great romance between Ilsa and the snow ladies. I lose track of that stupid movie, but that's just
Anna
me.
and Elsa.
Anna and Elsa. That's it. Anna and Elsa. They're just swell. So if you acknowledge anything is evil, then it might be you, and we can't have that.
Lou, I think it goes. I would actually take this statement from Filoni and Leslie Headland a little bit further. I would go as far as to say that Darth Vader doesn't even know that the Emperor is evil. I mean, despite the fact that he works so closely with him every day, he just doesn't understand. He doesn't know that the Emperor is committing all these atrocities. He's completely innocent in all of this.
This is the perfect comparison to the Weinstein situation. GOG, I never thought we'd get here where Weinstein is the Emperor is Weinstein, and poor Darth Vader, poor Anakin just didn't know. He just didn't know, darn it. Oh my gosh, what a great point.
Anakin worked with evil. She was working with evil. She knows evil better than anybody. So for her to come out and say, well, I don't think Anakin really thought he was evil. I mean, Anakin literally said to Palpatine, wait, you're a Sith Lord. He calls him out. All right. He knows what he's doing. He's completely aware of this. And he decides on his own to commit himself to his teachings. Anakin knows that he's going down the dark side path. He knows that all throughout the Star Wars saga, all the way up until the very end. All right. Right there in the Emperor's throne room on the second Death Star. He knew he was evil. Okay. And he was trying to get Luke to come to the dark side. So all of this is just showing that these clowns have no idea what they're doing with this franchise. As George has already stated, George Lucas came out and said they know nothing about my ideas. They are all lost.
All of this proves my basic thesis, given to me by that great sage, wit, and man of wisdom, Eric Cartman. The whole thing of put a chick in it and make it lame and make her gay. Let me tell you something. The chick in it, big deal. The gay part, big deal. What matters is the lame part. That's the only thing that matters. Now, to the degree that the other two contribute to that lameness, that's another discussion. But it's all lame what they're doing. It is not good storytelling. It is not good entertainment. And who's screwing who and who's it's all secondary. It really is. That's where we get distracted, I think.
Well, let's go to Matt for a moment, because Matt is supposed to be the Star Wars therapist for the evening. Matt, can you help all of us out there who might be struggling in our ineptitude, in our clearly we're unable to understand how it is that Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, one of the baddest hombres in Hollywood, promoted, by the way, by a group of people with political connections who might also be bad hombres. But Matt, can you help us in our naivete understand how it is that Leslie Headland should be the moral authority helping us understand good and evil? Please share with us, Matt. Help the plebes.
I feel everyone's pain. We've suffered quite a bit of trauma, and wounds definitely have been reopened with the Acolyte and what we have to go through. Miss Headland is asserting herself as some kind of Star Wars authority, yet I don't know if you can pull up her background, her Wikipedia, her IMDb.
It's glowing, Matt. It's filled top to bottom with just hit after hit, I tell you.
It's a little light on.
Sorry. Yeah. Matt, as a therapist, could you help us all feel a little more connected? Could you lean towards the camera? Just lean towards the camera. Okay, now can you put your index fingers both on your chin, like you're really paying attention to our pain? Both index fingers, please. I don't know if you have a drink there. Oh, here we go,
both
folks.
Both
just like that. Okay, perfect. Like that. Now, really feel our pain, Matt, because we are morons who we just don't understand how Leslie Headland could ever be an authority on morality, and yet here we are. We're hurting, Matt. We're all hurting.
I'd like everyone to focus or concentrate on the first act of episode 4. We meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. We go back to his residence. He gives us.
Wait, are you talking about the 4th movie or episode 4?
Episode 4, the first Star Wars film, 1977. First act. Young Luke is taken back to Obi-Wan's residence. And everyone in the 70s, we hear about the fundamental philosophy of the Force. It's an energy that surrounds us. It binds the universe. And you all know the speech. So that's the fundamental philosophy of the Force. That what makes a Jedi a Jedi? A Jedi is a very controlled person. He's like a Zen-like individual. The Star Wars is steeped in Eastern mysticism and religion, and George Lucas borrowed aspects of Buddhism and injected them directly into a Jedi. A Jedi he's calm, he's collected, he's intelligent, he's a Renaissance man. He's also a fighter. He's a warrior and a champion for good. So in this sense that Anakin is warned by a young Obi-Wan that he cannot control himself. And if he can't control himself, then he makes himself vulnerable to outside forces like the dark side. Anakin ultimately, like the DA was eloquently speaking to, Anakin becomes manipulated by a masterful, manipulative, one of the highest manipulative evil people around, a Sith Lord.
Wait a minute, Matt. Are you talking about Star Wars, or are you talking about the origin story of Leslie Headland? I got confused there at the end.
Right. And you know what? I can't say, let's speak to Leslie. I can say that in my experience, someone who is a assistant to such a powerful person, they know every single thing that person usually does. And quite often when these things aren't great, they control the public knowing about them. So I think the onus is on her to kind of demonstrate that she's been a good faith actor, because so it's extraordinary how Harvey Weinstein was so celebrated and supposedly loved in Hollywood for so long, and Luke can speak to this, and then overnight he became completely hated. And I think that she has a lot more story to tell. Maybe in the future we'll hear more about, maybe through her or other people around her, what really happened. But does she seem like the best representative of Star Wars at all? No. Does Dave Filoni sound like he knows who he's talking about? No. It's really sad that we have to put up with these people, because we all know there's more talented and there's more dedicated, creative people, writers, directors, even actors who want to be part of Star Wars, who've grown up, who've just dreamed about it their whole life. My first film that I got to see was Empire Strikes Back. That's literally the first film in the theater that I ever saw. I literally recreated the Hoth battle, I think, for like 5 or 6 years in my living room. So I was like 8 or 9 years old. So you can see, like, I will say this one last thing. They failed when they didn't turn to the 45-year-old guys, like right now, who grew up with Star Wars, and just say, they're our North Star. What do they want? Let's go with that. If they like that, it'll be Star Wars cool. What does everybody on this panel want in a Star Wars thing? And then everyone else will follow. That's kind of how it worked, but that's where they failed. They rejected everyone that loved Star Wars, grew up with it in a sense. They wanted to remake it in their own image, and it's diminishing returns, and there's no more love, there's no more fun, no more art, and there's no more inspiration in Star Wars, and that's really unfortunate. And I'll just say this: Star Wars was this magical thing, like a pulley or a lever, where you put an amount of certain energy or money or excitement into it, and you pull that lever, and then you exponentially receive a ton of excitement, money, energy, goodwill, and a larger audience. And so we broke that machine, I think. So.
Well, Matt, as you've been explaining that, and I agree with all your points, Lauren needs to calm down. That's just all there is to it. Lauren, you need to calm down. You're interrupting far too much, Lauren. Matt's making great points, and there you are being so hyper offensive up there in the top center panel. You're like the center fielder of the night, Lauren. We expect more out of you, Lauren. I think Leslie Headland is a little bit like, she's like George Lucas. George took Luke in the story and led him to a sage named Obi-Wan, and in real life, Leslie also led young people to someone named Harvey Weinsteinobi. And it didn't go quite the same. Lauren, do you disagree with Dave Filoni, or do you agree? Can you give us your thoughts on whether or not Anakin ever knew that he was part of the dark side?
So, believe it or not, I'm probably going to anger a lot of people and play a little bit of devil's advocate here tonight. Because
hold on a second, Lauren. Hold on a second. Folks, get ready. Here we go. For Lauren Connor to irritate many of you, but he's going to do it with goodwill. So hold back your tomatoes, please.
So I think this depends upon, first of all, when he's talking about. Now, I haven't read this story, so I don't know the full context of the quote, but they are talking about, I believe, the Acolyte and coming up against the prequel era. So I'm assuming that they're talking about Anakin as Anakin. And the old saw is that the villain never sees themselves as evil. They always see themselves as the righteous redeemer. The other thing to keep in mind is that when we're talking about Anakin and when we're talking about Vader, he sees himself as two very different, distinct people. And so the question that I would have is Dave trying to make a distinction between Anakin and Darth Vader, or is he actually talking about them as the same individual? And I think that context might be important. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, it's important to say that when Anakin is having his battle with Obi-Wan, that he sees the Jedi as evil, and he has a lot of reasons for actually feeling that way. But at the same time, when he first pledges himself to Palpatine, he says, "What have I done?" He's cognizant of the fact that he has just essentially caused the death of Mace Windu, and that whatever comes next is not going to be good. But he does believe that he's doing it for reasons that have a higher, better purpose. That's how he's justifying it to himself. His real end goal is the selfishness of not being able to possibly let go of his wife if she is to die. But he has to give himself some kind of justifying reason, and that comes down to the inherent injustice in the galaxy that he believes that he can right if only the political system and all of its red tape will get out of the way. So I think the difference is, are we looking at this from an out-of-universe perspective and being able to judge Anakin / Darth Vader's actions, which are clearly and easily recognizable as evil? Or are we judging it in universe from Anakin's own perspective? And I think those things are two different things.
Well, Lauren, I'm so glad you asked, and we're going to go straight to the source. Folks, you may have to support us a little bit more than usual on this stream tonight, because we are headed towards trouble whenever we play something that's been put out by Disney, even when it is promotional. And so we're not going to play this in its entirety, and we are going to play it only for the newsworthy content. We are going to provide our thoughts and analysis on it. But Lauren is asking, what did they mean? And folks, we're here to bring it to you. So let's go straight to the source. One former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein and one current personal assistant to Kathleen Kennedy. Here we go.
2 directors talk about Star Wars.
That sounds good.
That does
Let's
sound
do
good.
that.
Let's do it.
Like,
Tell Here's me the other about the Acolyte.
I'm sorry, just you asking me that question is making me cry.
Is it? That's all right.
Yeah.
It is a big deal to a lot of people. It affects people in different ways, and this is your story, so.
What I was interested in examining were the Sith. The master-apprentice dynamic.
Let's just pause here, folks. Is anyone shocked that Leslie Headland was interested in the Sith?
I'm not even shocked that she said Siths as the plural of the word, because she's never seen a cowboy.
So, folks, yes, Leslie Headland, of course, she comes into Star Wars and she immediately wants to talk about Siths.
It's the apprentice is craving the master's power. Then at some point, he must recruit his apprentice to overthrow the master.
Yeah.
And that is the Acolyte.
Right.
You don't wake up thinking you're evil or that you're the
Sure.
bad guy, as explored by.
How do you know that unless you're actually evil? How do you? I can't stop. Let's keep
I mean,
Anakin.
yeah, I don't think Anakin ever thinks he becomes evil.
I
in
agree,
life,
and I
you
think
know.
a lot of the characters in the Acolyte have to convince themselves that they are
doing the right thing.
They're doing the right thing.
Lauren, how you feeling? You still with that?
Yeah, believe it or not, I am. It's because I think he's talking about Anakin's perspective on himself. I think that he's obviously cognizant that he's fallen. I mean, there is the point when he says, "What have I done?" I think there's no way probably that he can justify to himself killing the younglings, but that's what he has to do, he believes, to save his wife. And he believes that ultimately this will lead to a greater good because he sees the Jedi as evil in that moment. And I do think that he has some reasons for feeling that way from his perspective. But that's different than we would externally judge him seeing things objectively. And as somebody in the chat has said, if he hadn't been such an ass, then Padme wouldn't have died. That's actually true. But he couldn't see that based on his situation and the knowledge that he had at the time.
Right.
And that's something that I suspect he probably never admitted to himself.
Other panelists weigh in. What do you got?
Can I hop in here? I've got a thing.
Yes, and then Jonas after that.
Okay, so Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader's motivations, and the history of the Bane-Knight Sith are kind of like a big nerd thing with me. Like, it's the thing that I probably know the most about in Star Wars. And yes, I agree with Lauren to an extent. However, from the moment he wakes up in that suit, he is well aware of how much he screwed up, and he knows. And the novelization of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is one of the greatest books I've ever read in my life. It's my favorite book. It is written by a guy named Matthew Stova, and he encapsulates it so perfectly, which just flies right in the face of everything Blockhead over there is saying. And I mean that both because she's an idiot and because her head is shaped like a block.
Well, round-headed Ryan to block-headed Leslie.
Yes. So when he wakes up in the suit and he realizes that Padme is dead, the book says, it is in this blazing moment that you finally understand the trap of the dark side, the final cruelty of the Sith. I'm gonna do this in a more dramatic voice. Because now yourself is all you will ever have. And you rage and scream and reach through the Force to crush the shadow who has destroyed you. But you are so far less now than what you were. You are more than half machine. You are like a painter gone blind, a composer gone deaf. You can remember where the power was, but the power you can touch is only a memory. And so with all your world-destroying fury, it is only droids around you that implode and equipment. And the table on which you were strapped shatters, and in the end, you cannot touch the shadow. In the end, you do not even want to, because in the end, the shadow is all you have left. The shadow understands you. The shadow forgives you. The shadow gathers you unto itself, and within your furnace heart, you burn in your own flame. That is not a guy who thinks he's still good.
No,
You mean-
but
you mean-
the person that you're talking about there though is Darth Vader, and that's why I'm arguing this point the way that I am.
But
Because I've watched so many Filoni interviews, I know that when he says Anakin, he's talking about Vader.
But are you trying to say that who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow do. That's kind of what you said. But
Yeah.
Let's get Jonas in here. Jonas is
Shadow
Go ahead.
knows.
Yeah, I'm trying to let everybody talk here. I can appreciate that when you're writing a screenplay or something like that, you want to have a good guy, or you want to have a bad guy who views himself as the good guy of his own story. But I just think there's so much here. And again, going back to this idea that George Lucas wrote this for children, the guy does like, and I'm talking about Palpatine when I say this. Palpatine does like 3 evil head turns in the middle of that weird bubble opera scene, a gateway to abilities that some might call unnatural. And that whole thing. The guy murders children because he convinces Anakin to murder children because the Jedi have gone too far, and together they will save Padme. I think that he gets Anakin to the point where he does not care what good or evil are, and that is, of course, evil. His eyes turn yellow and red.
That was jaundice. Well,
I did have an argument with a guy who was jaundiced once, and I had a hint that he might be evil, but he got out in the sun and he was doing a little better. Anyway,
judge the man for jaundice.
Well, also Palpatine. I mean, it's not like you look at the guy and you think, you know what, I might be misunderstanding this fellow. I might be misjudging him. He's there. He's got the big black robe with the red liner as time goes on. Again, the glowing yellow eyes, the fact that he goes around screaming about unlimited power. We're talking big strokes, scene-chewing villainy here. We're not talking Walter White, who also probably is evil by the end of Breaking Bad. We're talking like children's story with broad strokes. Darth Vader
he
is
makes
definitely
Boris and
evil.
Natasha look like
And
friendly neighbors.
He is Darth Vader before he puts on that suit, but he's not. I mean, he's not the Darth Vader we know and love until he puts on the suit. But he is Darth Vader before he puts on that suit, and you might even argue he's more villainous before he puts on the suit because he's
chokes his
massacring
wife.
children. So there's no way that Anakin Skywalker, a person with some form of moral code, who, by the way, butchered a bunch of Tusken Raider women and children. By the way, he's looking there and he said, "I did it. I killed them all, the women and the children." He already knows he's going too far. So I think even in Attack of the Clones, he knew that what he did was evil. So I appreciate that there are gradations here, but there is no way that Anakin Skywalker didn't realize that what he was doing was evil, and therefore
What a great
was
conversation.
evil.
What a great conversation. Now, one person we have not heard from yet, though, is Ron. Ron,
Yeah,
please
no.
get in here. Join the party.
My thoughts the whole time have been this. I was just wondering, and I saw the conversation there with Dave and Leslie, and I was just wondering if it was a broader conversation before they went on, the cameras were rolling, and Kathleen was there, maybe Bob Iger was there, and Leslie was there, and Dave was turning to all of them and said, "Leslie, you think you're a good person, right? And Kathleen, you think you're a good person, right? And Bob, you think you're a good person, right? Yeah." So Anakin never knew he was evil. I think that's maybe
that would be the one thing that would get him fired,
I mean,
that any of them are evil.
Now, one thing I will point out that the only question I have is like Qui-Gon cheating at dice in order to get Anakin's freedom there in the first movie. He did a little evil to do a lot of good, which turned out to do a lot of evil when it all came down to it. So
we're
I
going to
think
see if we can.
Really, the true lesson of Star Wars is don't cheat at gambling, or you might doom us all.
That's right. And never go on never let the girl kiss you as they're blowing up the gates. But
modern storytelling in general has, I think, become very diluted from what George Lucas gave us back starting in the 1970s and 1980s. He once said in an interview, Star Wars was written for kids. It was written for 12-year-olds. There's good, there's bad, there's the good side, the light side. There's the dark side. There's good and evil. There are heroes and villains, plain and simple. And when you're storytelling for kids, that's what it should be. For some reason, that has become extremely muddled with modern storytelling, and everybody wants to tell why the bad person made bad decisions and make it almost feel like it's an excuse for them. And I have a huge problem with that. It was very clear to Anakin when you watch Revenge of the Sith, when he's going through his turn, he literally stops Mace from doing Mace Windu from doing what he's supposed to do, which was take out the Emperor. And he says, "No, I need him." And in that moment, he kills Mace, turns to the dark side, makes a firm decision to go down a dark path, to which Yoda always said, once you start down this path, forever will it dominate your destiny. And, he knew that already going into it. So I understand Lauren's point, because I don't believe evil necessarily always knows they're evil. But in these types of stories, I feel like they do. I mean, they're not Dr. Doofenshmirtz or anything, but
this
but
is archetypal storytelling.
Yeah.
Also, I would say,
No,
I'm not
Jedi
saying-
Order, feel the wrath of my Death Star in its
Thank you for that.
We have
I'm
heard
very
this
well.
for a while.
I'm looking at Darth Vader more as a split personality. I think that if Anakin's being honest,
Solomon Smeagol, Lorne, or hard change.
I see it as he is likely aware that he is evil, but cannot admit it to himself, and so he compartmentalizes those two identities. Darth Vader refers to Anakin Skywalker as dead, even when he's talking to Luke in Return of the Jedi.
Is he the biblical reversal of Paul to Saul instead of Saul to Paul? Is that what this is?
I don't know if I'd go that far either, because he always, even as the 9-year-old little boy, had some dark tendencies.
Oh, okay. Good point. Good point.
But I mean,
Was he shotgunning womp rats in a T-16? Helpless womp rats?
are you suggesting that leads to the dark side?
No, those things are actually huge. But, yeah, very good point.
The ultimate path to the dark side.
I view it as kind of like getting feral pigs from a helicopter with a machine gun. Apparently, that's actually a service you can do down in Texas.
For the record, Womp Rat still have an X account active, and Paul Chatto does not. So what's that say about Paul Chatto? The Womp Rats reign supreme.
I feel like I have to defend Anakin for a second here, because in the book they make it very clear as to his motivations. It's in the movie, it really just kind of seems like he doesn't get a promotion, and so he kills everybody. So in the book, after Palpatine tells him about Plagueis, he thinks to himself, "Wait a minute. The only way I can find information on an obscure Sith legend is in the restricted section of the Jedi archives, which is only accessible to Jedi masters." And so when they tell him he can't be a master, they are telling him he can't save her.
And in the same way,
that's one of the things.
He turns to the dark side towards the end of the film, just in the same way that Clark Griswold does near the end of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, under the Dark Emperor, that being Cousin Eddie.
Oh yeah,
bingo.
I just had to set up Pro for that as I say, "Hey, Lauren, you were talking."
I think that there are other reasons also that Anakin had been harboring a grudge against the Jedi, besides the fact that they didn't elevate him to the rank of master. I think a large part of that, and back in the day when the prequels were coming out, I think a better way to have gone with them would have been to stay a little closer to what Obi-Wan's original explanation was, which was that Owen was worried about Anakin or about Luke following him off on some damn fool idealistic crusade like his father did. That's not what happened in the prequels, but I think it's what should have happened. And the way that they could have made that work was that something similar to what happened in Knights of the Old Republic. You have Anakin pining for his mother back on Tatooine that he can't go back to. And then you have the Mandalorians or some other force start coming into the galaxy from outside beyond the Outer Rim, attacking those exterior border planets, including Tatooine, he wants to get involved, but he can't because Tatooine's not part of the Republic. They're not under their legal jurisdiction. But some of the Jedi, including Obi-Wan, go off to fight that battle, and it leads to a rift between the Jedi. That's how I would have handled something like that. But I think that he does harbor a grudge for the fact that his mother died, and he wanted to go off and see her. He wanted to go and save her. He couldn't do that, and I think that he partially blames the Jedi for that.
Well, let's watch a little bit more of the of this interview, and then I'm very keen on bringing back in LW Ghost, Derek, and we still have yet to really hear from Nolan. Nolan, I'm excited to get your take on all this, but just a bit more of this interview, folks, as we continue to analyze the thoughts of one former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein and one current personal assistant to Kathleen Kennedy.
This is the Clone Wars.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ahsoka was such an interesting character to me.
When we started, we had it very much a shell shock moment for her that she was out of her depth. And I'll never forget it. George watching it and saying, "You guys are taking this a bit too seriously." He went on to explain that, like, even at a young age, she's not out of her depth for any of this.
I had a similar experience with the character Jackie. There was a note from somebody that was, wouldn't she be scared on her first mission? And I remember you telling me about that story.
Jedi training has to be valuable. It prepares them for the galaxy.
Deep thoughts from Dave Filoni. Jedi training must be valuable. Deep, deep, deep thoughts.
Do or do not.
Do or do not, there's no try. That's like, if you're trying, you're not actually doing it.
Gentle reminders they can't make any of that anywhere close to what it once was.
I had to do that with Acolyte for sure. My agreement with myself was whenever it overwhelms you, that you're doing your...
Folks, Lou, did you ever find someone who was uncontrollably overwhelmed at doing... Oh, my... Lou, take this, please, for a moment. I can't.
All right, look,
can't.
my agreement with myself. You know, does anybody here even think like that? Or
narcissism
like that?
Unleashed. Lou.
Oh my God. But look, gang, I love you all. I think all of this lore and what it should have been and how it could have been is wonderful and fascinating and interesting. But my understanding of the point of this segment is not about Anakin. It's not about Luke. It's not about Ahsoka. It's about these two schmoes that are making all these movies and about their self-awareness. And what all this tells you is good and evil. What do they know from good and evil? They can't. They are not qualified to discuss how a character feels about it when they have no concept of it themselves.
Well said. Well said.
You see
how many
what I'm
times
saying?
How many times did she say I or me in that state? In all of
I lost count at 43. I don't know. But look, the people in charge have no scruples, have no self-awareness, have no ethics, and to expect that they are going to, in spite of all that, know what fictional characters. When George Lucas says it's for kids, let me ask you a hypothetical. If you found out in a 10-minute flashback in about the first third somewhere of Casablanca that Rick Blaine spent his youth in a Tibetan monastery learning right from wrong, would that matter about how he behaves in that story? Who cares? It's about, does it make sense within the moment and the context of what's being told in the story? And these people haven't got a clue about that because they're not writing, directing, or talking in this interview to justify anything other than themselves, not the characters, not
exactly.
The script, not
you hit it right there, Lou. You hit it right there. You just said these people have no scruples. So what they're about to do is try to explain away their evil. They're going to explain away why they do what it is that they do, and they're going to do it in the context of Star Wars.
I hear you,
but do that in this story. That's what they're doing.
They know better. That assumes,
but they don't know better. They're explaining,
which means they're not about explaining away something about themselves because there's something about themselves. Well, that's the person I made the agreement with. They're perfect. There's nothing to explain.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah, but that's my point. That their goal in this whole thing is to justify themselves and their evil actions. That's basically how I look at it. When they're talking about, like, Leslie Headland said in an interview, she saw herself through Ursula, the villain from The Little Mermaid. And
it's a normal childhood fantasy.
As the villain. So if you're telling me you see yourself as the villain But all the villains just misunderstood, guys. We don't really understand these villains, and they're not all that bad. We really just got to kind of, show them in a different light, And with Star Wars, you have that built in, this whole certain point of view storytelling style.
And then
kind of like what Lauren is getting at, that there's a point of view that you can look at it and say, well, this is how I look at the world. And you're like, well, you're evil. Of course you look at the world like that. Of course you want to justify your evil actions.
Man, that's so good.
Like, how do I explain? How do I look all of these women that I marched up and fed to Harvey? How do I look myself in the mirror and explain myself? Oh, well,
worm people in Little Mermaid.
They don't. They never look in a mirror except to
They
admire
don't,
themselves.
because they can't. But, like she's covering her face right now. That's how she looks at herself in the mirror. She can't, because she knows what kind of person she is, and she knows what she's about to do to this franchise, and she knows and understands all of this, but she's going to try to justify it. She's going to try to snowball you and gaslight you to believe she's not all that bad, and neither are the Sith. The Sith aren't that bad, guys. They're just misunderstood.
And it's only because of you stupid moron audiences who don't like this stuff that, just to make them seem a little sympathetic, I'm going to have them kill half as many bad people. I'm going to have them blow up half as many Death Stars and torture half as many people, just to throw you people a bone for your
someone else's fault.
Retro, out of date thinking about what's good and what's evil. And meanwhile, me and the Snow Girls are going to go off and have some fun somewhere.
Nolan, I'm going to give you the final word, Nolan, and every point tonight. Guys, I'm telling you, this might be my favorite stream of all time. What a great conversation from everyone. But Nolan, you're up. I need to know, Nolan.
Better than the cookies?
Oh, so much better than cookies. Nolan, given your vast knowledge of George Lucas and his background, would you say that you can recall at least a baker's dozen of photos of George Lucas sobbing into his hands on the sets of Star Wars?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the moment that they said that I like sand, of course, it's rough, it gets everywhere. Just a slow tear came down his eyes right behind the camera. It was miraculous. It was beautiful and inspired a generation to come.
Nolan, there's snot involved in this cry. That's an ugly cry.
It's not a sexy Hollywood cry by any means. This is a tearjerker, and this. Maybe she's crying by the horrors that Kathleen Kennedy has presented to her on the sets. Maybe she's crying because it's so bad. Maybe.
Well, that's how they're acting right now. That's how they're acting.
How about instead of releasing the show, how about we all go home early and get tacos? Would that be better?
Tacos Autenticos sounds pretty good to me. Jonas, we've got Super Chats Autenticos out there. Would you mind pulling up the Super Chats and gifted memberships? And let's celebrate along with the audience.
Let's talk about, first of all, Donna Hergenrether, member for 9. I will not be watching the Acolyte.
Ooh, Acolyte. I get it.
Ico Leslie.
House Atreides for $5 Canadian talking about Cat 5 disasters, the amount of money Sony is spending on ads on Bad Boys 4. I guess Sony is praying everyone has forgotten about the slap.
Oh, are we talking about Will?
No, Bad Boys 4. The keep the name out of the mouth and the gotta tell you, that was an interesting evening.
How many years has it been since he did the slap?
2, 3?
Is somebody's decided that's how long it takes to redeem? That someone's made that decision.
I'm gonna guess 1.5 years, because didn't we just have an Oscars not that long ago? Would it have been the first one after? I don't know.
And everyone was expecting a new slap, and no slap was given. Yep.
JRG
it's like a ride on Everest when you expect the Yeti to still move and it won't.
JRG Projects for 5. Comparing Star Wars to a dumpster fire is insulting to actual dumpster fires. At least dumpster fires can keep you warm. Star Wars serves no purpose.
Well, 92% of the audience says they're not watching The Acolyte in the latest poll that we took. By the way, one of the closest polls we did during the show so far, 60% say that Mace Windu is not alive in Disney Star Wars. 40% say they believe that Mace Windu is alive during Disney Star Wars. So there you go.
Isn't that a story rule? Like, if you don't see the body, they're not really dead. Ken Reihard for $2. I love when Luke saves the TARDIS from Ripley and Spock.
We're saving that for the end of the show, Ken, where we're going to show you all just how little the stars of the Acolyte know about a galaxy far, far away. But
that's indeed. Right. Packing Protons for 5. As I type this, Pro is Ann B. Davis in the Brady intro. Lorne is Florence.
He does look charming up there. Spiffy even.
That makes me Cindy.
Oh, that's perfect. Tennille89 for 5. Does Jonas get put in timeout each time a demonetized? Well, can't dim the glow of each sublime schadenfreude. Just as that, such as that for Lucasfilm. Tee-hee.
Well, so far, folks, we are not yet demonetized. It's a miracle. We actually played Disney content, and we're surviving so far. We'll see how it goes. But you know how Disney is. They have their people, and they're watching content such as this, ready to click the button at a given moment. Let's go right now to Disney's representatives. Let's see what they're up to.
The crab people shall finally reign supreme.
Crab people. Crab. Oh, good grief. More crab people.
Ruby Hoove for $2. Dumpster Fire Centralia. Centralia?
There is a Centralia, California, but it's with a C.
Cyrano 2960 for $2. I'll take Jonas for the block. I do believe that's a Hollywood Squares reference.
That's right.
Tennille 89 for 2. Typo penance applied. Thank you very much, Tennille 89. You don't have to worry about that. Sick Lid for $10. Rolling down the street, smoking on that Leslie pack. Oh, sorry. Rolling down the street, smoking on that Leslie pack, sipping on gin and blue milk. I get it.
I want to hear it.
Not right now.
Yes, now, Dusty Bun.
Wait. Okay.
Make it violent.
There's a rhythmic issue here, bro. I don't think I can sing that one. Jeremy Winfield for $5. How do you think the conversation went with Lucas and his wife after leaving Cannes? That interview was a suplex to Disney Star Wars. Marvin, is it suplex or suplex?
Suplex.
Actually, it used to be pronounced supplé. There is your random wrestling factoid for the night.
37 minutes later into the description of wrestling terms.
Incroyable.
You opened a can, Jonas, of worms, not a can of what the wrong.
Which explains why that wonderful French chocolate confection was originally called a suplex.
I'm going to disappear on the other side of this, but I just need to point out, first of all, William Thompson, member for 6. Not to hurt Lou's feelings, but Jonas Campbell is my favorite. But he comes in second to Lauren Connor. But we all know WDW Pro is boss, kinda. I'm proud to be a Council of Waltz member. We're proud to have you in the Council of Waltz. William.
No feelings hurt, even slightly, William. Honest.
William, you still have the best hat in town.
That's right. And also, William Thompson gifted 20 WDW Pro memberships. And here it is. I'm going to
cattle too, Pro, not just
on
the
the
hat.
other side of whatever the celebration is. Tender Warrior 68 also gifted 50 WDW Pro memberships.
Wow.
Amazing, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Jonas, thank you for being here and helping us through these super chats and gifted memberships. Jonas has to fly, folks, but the show is just getting underway. More on the way after we celebrate these wonderful gifted memberships.
A blindfolded half-court shot that is now the talk of campus and beyond.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is that on tape?
Yeah.
You are kidding me.
Wow.
Can I just say, as long as the odds were on that shot, they're nothing compared to the odds of anybody at Disney ever making anything Star Wars that's watchable again.
I would say so, Lou. You can definitely make that point, and I think that point is well taken. Folks, we're to come back to Star Wars in just a moment. We've got to do one single solo story that is not about Han Solo nor his galaxy, and that is that Disney has been up to no good, and it has been fully revealed out there. We're going to attempt yet again to play a video and discuss it. This one only 47 seconds and provided to us by Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge. Folks, don't forget that Tom's birthday is tomorrow, and they have a special stream, Midnight's Edge, tomorrow. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, but double check that, folks. Go say hi to Tom on his birthday. Send him a little super chat. Let him know that the pro community is all about him and Andre and their team over there. But, folks, this is really something. Apparently, Disney attempted to turn their character Raven for the Disney Channel into an LGBTQIA++ negative plus in icon. So let's hear what this is about, and then we'll get the panel to weigh in on this one. And gentlemen, be careful, as the topic is precarious indeed on the platform.
So the passion that I have for this show is something akin to like a child. I think Disney wanted her to be queer in the beginning, and I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. They were like, "Do you want Raven to be gay?" I said, "Why?" "Because you are." I said, "Bad reason. That's a bad reason." No. Raven Baxter never exhibited any type of sexual identity situation in the priors. I'm not being myself on this show. I'm being a character. Raven Baxter's not gay. No matter what the first 4 seasons looked like with me and Chelsea sleeping in the same room and us raising a family together. Okay? That's not the case. We are friends who sleep in the same room.
Guys, question. Given the rules of Hollywood as they have become, if you're not gay, can you play gay? And if you are gay, can you play not gay? I don't understand the rules anymore.
Wasn't it one of the original Star Trek actors who basically said when they were trying to redo Star Trek that they were trying to make was it Sulu? They were trying to make his character gay. And
yes, I was going to make that point too, Nolan. That's a perfect point. Yeah, when the second movie came out, they showed Sulu with his husband, and one of those rare moments where George Takei is like lucid enough to add something like, wise to a conversation. He was like, actually, Gene Roddenberry didn't design the character to be gay.
Oh.
Exactly. Does this
and
he
wins the trivia contest at the local bar for that. Next.
It's like,
but guys, seriously, are you allowed to do this in modern Hollywood? I don't understand the rules. Someone explain to me, because I know that if you're not the exact same, even down to the subcategory of race, you're not allowed to play the character anymore. The Simpsons is dropping characters or voice actors if they're not exactly matched up, even though the Simpsons, they're all yellow-skinned. So help me understand. I don't get this. Apparently, Disney wanted to push her into it.
Well, Pro,
you're going to need a lot of body
personal.
paint in the future. You're going to need a lot of body paint every time you're filming a new episode of The Simpsons in the voice cast.
Pro, I can
Peter
help
Mayhew
you
as
understand.
Chewbacca is going to need to really let his beard grow out and get all hairy and such.
Next, you'll tell me, Nolan, there's someone in that suit. I can't believe you're spoiling the magic. Lou, spoil the magic some more. What do you got?
Pro, no knock either way, but you're not gay, right?
I have never
Therefore,
been attracted to
you
someone
are
of
not
this thing.
allowed to understand the rules because they aren't made for you.
Oh, I have been othered by you. I have been othered.
You don't have the computer ring. You don't have the password.
I don't have the special key card. I don't get in the club.
No, you don't. Call it club.
I don't.
What would the Club 33 equivalent be? 33 and the
I know which number it would be. We're not going to say it on the air.
Oh well, yeah, I thought of that one and immediately rejected it because I figured if I got in trouble for a certain German leader, that one would really blow me away. So
it would get.
let me rephrase that. It would distract me from my appointed rounds. Let's put it that way.
Derek, what do you make about the idea that Disney was trying to push a young female star into being a queer icon on the Disney Channel, despite her not wanting to do that?
Yeah, it's par for the course with Disney, and we don't understand this at all because we're normal people, but it doesn't make any sense to try to push sexual content or sexual preferences on a children's show. I just don't understand it. My daughter grew up watching That's So Raven. She loved it. I didn't watch it myself. So it just kind of makes you really sit back and think about this company. That this is what they were doing even way back then when my daughter was a little girl. Hey, we're gonna.
What year was that show originally? I'm trying to remember.
It was like
I can't remember. I know she watched it growing up. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was early 2000s for sure. My daughter's like born in 98, so it would have probably been somewhere around 2005.
She was the little girl at the very end of the Cosby Show, right? She was the little girl that came in to sort of take the place of Ruby.
And then
right
to Cooper after that.
So
why would you try to put sexual content or make this girl identify as some, say, well, she identifies as, you know, a lesbian or whatever, because, you know, that's what the actress is. And, you know, hats off to Raven Simone for like putting that nonsense to bed. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
I admire her so much for what she said, but my point is this. When they were beginning to ask her, pressure her, whatever, to do that, was long before it was a big deal in the general public, or even before they could have reasonably assumed it would somehow add to the audience. So the reason they were doing it was for none of their stated political goals. It was for earning brownie points with their superiors within the company who were pushing for it.
Yeah.
Somebody told that person, whoever it was, hey, go talk to her about that. Maybe we can get her to do it. And if we do, I'll get you a renewal for another season or whatever. I mean, this is, and as for why, I'll tell you the why they want it. Because all of the times that children, our children's children, and those far before us were told, if somebody comes up to you and starts saying certain things or wants to do this, you run away and you yell and you know that's not right. Well, they want kids to grow up not doing that. They want them to grow up thinking, oh, it's perfectly normal. Sure, I'll take your candy, mister. That's what it's about.
It used to be pretty different, because I actually vividly remember on the original run of That's So Raven, I remember there was an episode that tackled racism. It's actually the episode I remember most about the show. And from what I can remember as a child, it was pretty well handled. But the difference back then is, you know, there were a lot more competent writers back then. So it's a little bit more distrusting of who's going to be writing this source material for your children. I can't say I haven't seen the show for sure, but if it's anything like Louder and Prouder, it ain't going to be too pretty.
Yeah, Louder and Prouder went off the rails. Absolutely. I think that was probably the most propagandistic children's content I have ever seen, and that's even considering Strange World. So it's interesting to me what has happened with Disney. Ron, any thoughts on this one before we move on to the next topic?
Just from personal experience, I don't have that acting the Hollywood acting background. I have, however, been in movies with Hollywood actors. So my biggest role that I played in a movie was with Dean Cain. I play a character named Tim, who is in fact modeled after a real life person who I had the opportunity to meet. That is a gay man. He is a gay. I am not a gay man. I had his blessing to play the gay man. My understanding about all of acting is the whole point of it is you are supposed to, I'm going to call it pretend, but it's acting. You are embodying some other person. And as an actor or actress or whatever, your job is to play a role, and it doesn't matter what you are in real life. You are going out there to play a role. And this is a very important role because this person in real life actually rescues people from the plight of human trafficking. He actually investigates where it's going on, finds people who could be involved, and actually rescues young ladies and young men, sometimes kids, from that plight of human trafficking. This actually goes on today here in Orlando. So for me, it was a great honor to play the role regardless of sexual orientation. I'm a 50-plus-year-old straight married man with kids, and I played a 30-something gay man. That's how acting is supposed to work anyway. So you shouldn't be asked to change a character. I wasn't asked to change Tim to a straight man because I'm straight. I played the role of Tim as a gay man because he is a gay man. It's not his real name, but that's the way acting is supposed to work. I'm really grateful for Raven Simone standing up. I would love to see a lot more Hollywood people doing things that way, standing up for themselves against clearly a machine that wants to present ideas in a certain way.
Ron, why didn't you tell me that you had been on set with Dean Cain? We would have had you on when Dean was here. He'd have said, wait a minute. I didn't know I was amongst friends here already.
Dean made fun of me.
He would have said, it's that little gay kid.
Yeah, exactly. It was Dean and I had a good time on set together. It was pretty funny. He's a great guy.
And by the way, it's a good thing you didn't bring any kryptonite with you, because obviously Dean would have been killed because he can only play what he really is, right?
Yeah,
Matt, before we end the topic, you are our resident therapist for the night. Can you help us understand why a corporation would push a woman to only play a character who's exactly like her. Please take it away, Matt. A woman.
Well, only the most their own personal identity into the creative process. Ron's been a member of acting classes. And he spoke to the entire profession. The entire reason of actors is to assume a different identity and suppress your own.
Uh-oh, I think we are having connection issues with Matt. Matt, we'll come back to you soon, but I think we're having some connectivity issues. Check and see, Matt. We lost you for just a moment. But Therapist Matt is here to help us, folks, as we reconcile tonight with our clear deviance as we continue to be the toxic fan base, the Walt right that just will not make all right with Lucasfilm and with Disney. Folks, we're reprobates. There's no doubt about it. All right, but before we become too far off the reservation, let's get to Super Chats. We've let them sit too long, and we want to get to all of your fantastic thoughts, folks, because we believe in you. Here we go right now. No Jonas in the house. That means it's all up to poor little Pro. But as we get ready to read these Super Chats, I will tell you all, now that Jonas is not here, so we can brag on him, that Park Place, the YouTube channel, is celebrating 15,000 subscribers. They've hit the 15K mark. Folks, that's all of you out there that are doing that, by the way. You all are providing this tremendous support that allows us to do actual investigative journalism into entertainment. They're not ready for that, by the way, the industry. But they're going to announce, hopefully in the next few days, when their celebration will be next week, but a 15K celebration for that Park Place on the way. John Cornyn for $10. I realized something Force of Light said has come full circle. As we disrobed and dismembered our sisters' Barbies, they've taken our Jedi action figures, applied lipstick, and made them gay. Well, in all fairness, though, they also pulled the hair out of their Barbies' heads, and we did not have anything to do with that. That's on them. All right, going to JRG Projects. Great Leslie Squarehead now has a self-insert. What a great 8-month member chat. Yes, indeed. Also coming to us from John JID 999 for $4.99. Found y'all's channel a month ago as someone new to learning about backstage politics in movies and TV. Y'all give me the best news and information. Well, we appreciate that, John. That's because we know them better than they know themselves, and that's because Lou here helps us understand even when we otherwise would not.
I feel such pressure now.
And he's not even at the chiropractor. All right, Jay, member for 12 months. And by the way, folks, we love Jay. Does everybody love Jay? I think I love Jay. You love Jay. Everyone loves Jay. You know
The
why?
letter of the day is J.
Jay. Yeah. Jay says, a member for 12 months. And Jay, by the way, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary being a member. And congratulations on your new badge that you have there. Anakin's dialogue in episodes 3 and 6 are enough to show that he knew you can pick up regret from him after the Emperor's death. Lorne, your response.
Agree. But that is when he has reconciled his personality. That as he is dying, he's reflected on the fact that almost all of his life has been evil. He has taken responsibility in the sense that he chucked the Emperor down the reactor shaft and he's paying for it with his life. He now recognizes that what he does, he acknowledges it finally as wrong. When he was acting as though Darth Vader and Anakin were two separate people, again, he's aware that he's evil, but he's pretending that it's this other guy, Darth Vader, that evil, dastardly guy. Darth Vader recognized Anakin as dead. So the reconciliation in Anakin's personality happens after he chucks the Emperor down the reactor shaft.
As he chunks him down. Yes, yes. And folks, are you having fun on a Friday night yet? Folks, you could be anywhere, but you, beautiful people, choose to be here where the fun is happening on YouTube. Share this out. Click the like button if you've not yet done so far. TLJ.
Best party in town.
Best party in town, no doubt. And it's in every town simultaneous. TLJ Screwjob for $5. Vader literally says, "It's too late for me, son." Before taking Luke to the Emperor's throne room. Not, what do you mean? I'm the good guy, Luke. Good point there. Panel,
But-
anybody?
but-
Anybody?
but-
There's a but.
He doesn't try to sit there and justify himself. He knows what he's doing is wrong.
But we have a but. Who's got the
The
but?
but
Who's got the
is,
but?
as I said before, this isn't about Darth Vader or Luke or anybody. It's about those two square-headed blockheads that were talking on that video who wouldn't know good or evil if they bit them in their blockhead butts. They are beyond
They're
judgments
blocky
of what is
butts.
good. But they don't know. They honestly don't know. They think if I think of it, it must be true, and therefore I'm above all of this silly stuff that you poor deluded peons are thinking about good and evil and right and wrong. What do you? That's so retro. That's so yesterday. That's so red state. How dare you? That's their attitude. So you can't expect them to cop to it one way or the other when they literally don't understand it.
Right, from a writing and an exterior perspective, but it is important in universe because it
It
goes
is,
to
but that's why they can't do the universe, because they don't understand the real universe.
understood. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the motivations of Anakin and Darth Vader. And
You are.
I would say
I'm not. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate, Lauren. I understand this stuff is important within its own world. But when they put people in charge of that world who don't even understand the real world enough to know that they could possibly be even possibly doing anything called wrong, and by the way, what does that mean anyway? Then you can't expect them to create art that has any of those values truly in it. They can create.
You got to remember that Star Wars was written for 12-year-old boys, right? That's where the level of Star Wars is supposed to be. And it's a mythology to teach lessons, to teach young children, 12-year-old boys. George Lucas said this himself, is that when kids were starting off into the world, you know, here's some lessons that you can take with you, you know, cling to your friends and your family, you know, stay away from the dark side, cling to the good side. Like, these are the things that George Lucas himself said.
Yes.
This is what Star Wars was. So if you don't really like understand that the level of the writing that George was trying to give was just on a mythological level where there was clearly defined good and evil, and your whole goal is to try to blur those lines like it is with Leslie Headland. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to blur the lines between good and evil. If that's the I guess the angle that you're coming from, this is why they can't write Star Wars. This is why they're terrible at writing Star Wars, because their whole goal is to try to flip it on its head and subvert it into something that it is not. And George stated it very, very clearly. It's a story for 12-year-old boys just to teach lessons in life.
And that is absolutely true and right, and absolutely what George was saying. And if those same words, it's a story for 12-year-old boys, came out of Leslie's mouth or Filoni's head, they're saying exactly the opposite, right? They're using it as a condemnation. They're using it as a, why are we doing something different? Because that's bull, that stuff, that old outmoded way of thinking about good and evil and life lessons. How could you be so retro, you fools?
So
follow
foolish.
us to the true light side of all the Force, which is us.
Matt, I see, has a point. Matt, get in here real quick.
DA had an excellent point. I wanted to say this earlier about how the lines are being blurred. The end result is when you blur the lines between good and evil, you deflate the conflict. And your story is just more, it's not as exciting. There's less conflict. Where do you go? And so to speak to everybody's points in the last few minutes, to speak to the points in the last few minutes, I think of the scene with Luke when he tells Vader in Return of the Jedi, I see the good in you. And there's a tremendous arc just in Darth Vader's story alone. And who would have thought that when people saw for the first time in 1977, episode 4, who would have thought that they would see Luke Skywalker later say those words, I see the good in you, because he's portrayed as such a singular evil thing. But that alone, that's boring. So George Lucas knew that Darth Vader can't be 100% evil, and that there's a redemption in Return of the Jedi. There's a minor victory that Anakin, Darth Vader, is allowed to have at the end with Luke. It's a fascinating story how the father and the son, they both are Jedis. They both are Force sensitive. They're both amazing individuals, but they're both different. And then George Lucas brings that story together in Return of the Jedi. I like to say one more thing. As your licensed Star Wars therapist, if you want to know someone, meet their mother. And so, right?
Very well said, gentlemen. We need to go to the next super chat, but hold thoughts. You can probably pull these into the next super chats. But I think you guys are exactly right. Switching from archetypal good versus evil to postmodern relativism makes for a much more muddled story, and one that I think we're all tired of, and were from the very beginning. Nostradamus for $20 in Thrawn Alliances. Thrawn keeps alluding to Vader that he knows Vader is Anakin. Vader specifically tells Thrawn that the Jedi is dead. Supporting Lauren's point, Vader doesn't consider himself Anakin any longer. I'm adding the any longer there for those of you out there who are listening only on audio. Anybody want to weigh in on that one? That's a heck of a thought.
That's very well established. I think that Vader has to separate himself from Anakin in a lot of ways because he doesn't want to feel Anakin's emotions. He doesn't want to feel Anakin's love, his loss. Darth Vader is the most miserable man to have ever lived. Every minute of his life is pain and misery. And it helps to disconnect from your past and that to become this other thing so that you don't have to answer to yourself for the actions that your past self has done. It's a rebirth in the worst way.
I completely agree with that. And the example that I would go to of Anakin's torture inside the suit was from Shadows of the Empire, because they did some similar self-reflection in that novel. In my mind, when Anakin first starts to reassert himself is immediately after the duel with Luke in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke throws himself down the shaft rather than go with Vader. There's a moment when Vader is confused by that and then sees and remembers that's what it is to be a Jedi. And that's when the conflict starts to arise in him. And that's why he can say in Return of the Jedi, "It's too late for me, son." Now he's speaking as Anakin. Anakin is trying to reassert himself. Vader hasn't quite let go yet. That doesn't happen until the final duel in the throne room. But he's definitely probably whispering in Vader's ear saying, "You used to be better than this."
It's as he's watching Luke Skywalker be electrocuted by Palpatine, Anakin Skywalker wakes up from this long hibernation that he's had. And Anakin Skywalker looks at him and sees his son, and he sees Padme, and he sees that this creature, this shadow, this demon is about to take another one from him. And he starts to see, he's always known that Palpatine played him. From the minute he wakes up, he knows he played him. But Palpatine's the last thing that he has, the last connection he has. And you know, the fact that he's able to get up and turn on him, that is something. That is a truly transformative moment.
If you don't mind me going to an extra movie source, in the radio drama for Return of the Jedi, Vader
when he starts throwing out radio dramas, that's when you know we're talking with a guru.
Hey, I believe in radio drama.
He's played. Vader is played much more operatic by Brock Peters than James Earl Jones. It's a much more emotional performance. But when he is picking up the Emperor to throw him down the reactor shaft, the Emperor says, "Put me down, I am your master." And Vader says, "Darth Vader's master, but not Anakin Skywalker's." And then he throws him down the shaft.
Wow. And so much better than the no that he added in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darth Vader, my understanding too is when he became Darth Vader, he actually admired all of Emperor Palpatine and his scheming and conniving and leading him down that path. As Darth Vader, he actually admired that. And then that's where at the end, as Lauren talked about, the Anakin Skywalker fight started to come out of realizing, that is not a thing to admire at all.
So guys, let's pause here for just a moment. I want to go to the next story, and folks, we will come back to more super chats, and we're not really we're doing a soft transition here because actually you guys are talking about exactly what the next story is that we have, and that has to do with the fact that I suspect perhaps that the audience out there has longed for the day when we would be able to have conversations like this about Star Wars again, because we're talking about a time when Star Wars was worthy of conversation. Today, they don't give us anything worth our time to sit here and discuss and do discourse. But I want to show you, if it's okay with everybody, this conversation, and I want you to compare this. Audience, this is why I paused when we did. It's not because I want to disrupt the flow of the conversation, but because I need everyone from the conversation we were just having to compare what you were listening to from people who actually love the material versus people who have no idea what they're talking about and are ill-prepared to give any kind of media tour. Let's listen in.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
Let's go to the full thing now. Ready? And folks, we're playing with fire here. Your support needed as we continue to taunt the mouse.
I did get in trouble for this answer at Star Wars Con. I got heat. Yeah. And in my mind, it's so funny to me because it literally, as a person who's outside and just a fan coming in, that was what was so beautiful and interesting to me. You know, people have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this.
All right, so he thinks Anakin blew up the Death Star, and in case you thought that he didn't know, or, you know, maybe it was just a faux pas, maybe he meant to say Luke. Folks, this just keeps going with mistake after mistake.
Because the Jedi are these, you know, and from where I was growing up, from the films that I was seeing, it was they were better than could be. They were the utmost and could do nothing wrong, and it was this kind of godlike nature. So getting to see more of the personality, seeing a little deeper root into them was terrifying. To be like, how are we going to explore new outlets of a story of people that we've always known so much about, and, you know, do it in the ways that are.
All right. Well, they really know their stuff about Star Wars. Let me hand it to Derek first, and then Lou, I want to get your take on what's the proper way to prepare actors and celebrities who have no idea what they're talking about to go out and talk about something. But Derek, unleash, man, unleash.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start with this one, man. This is insane. So yeah, we have people that are making Star Wars that really don't have any background in Star Wars, that don't understand what they're doing, why Star Wars means something to so many people. And then they're just getting little simple things like who blew up the Death Star. They're getting it all wrong. And it just goes to show you again, Kathleen Kennedy is at the center of all of this, you know. And there was a point, I think Kathleen said, you know, I think she told Leslie Headland she wrote a great Star Wars movie. And I started sitting there, or a great Star Wars show, actually. And I started thinking, of all the people to be a judge of who is or what is a good Star Wars story, the last person I'm looking at is Kathleen Kennedy. And it's because this woman has gotten it all the way wrong ever since she's taken over the company. Everything has just been backwards. Everything has not made any sense. She's lost so many fans. And now she's telling Leslie Headland, oh, you wrote a good Star Wars story. Like, chick, you are the last person that should be talking right now when it comes to evaluating what is good Star Wars, what is not good Star Wars. But you can see it again. It just comes through to the talent. Leslie Headland, these actors, it doesn't matter. These guys are so off base when it comes to Star Wars and what it means and how it should be displayed before the public. It's just insane. So at this point, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm looking forward to watching the train wreck, because I do like, you know, a good disaster movie. And I think that's what we're going to get when it comes to the Acolyte. I do love a good disaster. So I think that's what we're getting. And that's what I'm looking forward to. But yikes, man, this is going to be insane, guys. This is going to be out of control.
Derek, you're saying that Rey and Anakin did not fall in love in a pool of blue milk at some point. I'm sure these guys are saying that. Lou, what do you do to prepare folks who have no idea anything about the source material to go out and talk about their show?
Well, you fall back on your past successes of doing that, such as whoever prompted Rachel to tell you all about how screwed up the original Snow White was.
Oh,
you don't think she came with that all by herself, do you? I mean, and what you just said, it's not even whether Kathleen Kennedy knows or doesn't know what's a good story. It's whether she knows what's going to sell, because everything she's done has flopped, right? So, I mean, I hate to get back to the bottom line all the time, like I'm somebody who thinks a company should be in the business of making money. Silly me. But you don't, you give somebody a chance and you let them do it for a while, but how much is too much? How much is too much? Answer, this much, and a long time before. But how do they prepare it? Now, there have been very famous cases in the history of the great industry, even recent ones, where actors have been chosen to portray a particular character, either a real person because it's based on a true story, whatever that even means anymore, and they intentionally don't go look at the source. They don't go read it because they want to give it their own spin. I can buy that. But then talk about the emotions, talk about the feelings, talk about your work as an actor, not about the script and the story and stuff you don't know about. But then this is Hollywood, where nobody knows what they don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, you say anything. And then when he says, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, that would be a first clue to shut the heck up, probably. Because your job is to get people excited about you and about the show, not to have people mad at you because they think you're a dumbass for doing this. I mean,
one of my favorite things, Lou, is that the interviewer, we know who she is, and it's funny to me. In case anyone out there wonders, is this relevant? Do people actually care? Well, look at the views that Jonas has on that tweet. And this was loaded quite a long time ago. He may be getting close to 500,000 views by now. But the interviewer, she knows that these people have no idea what they're talking about. She's being exceedingly kind to not say, do you mean Luke? Or I don't know, maybe she's being cruel to not at some point be like, I think you meant Luke. Marvin,
when you hire
I've been
her,
holding you back as long as I can, but Luke,
let me just say this.
Yes.
Yeah. When you hire her to moderate this discussion, you're either intentionally hiring somebody who won't be able to call them on it because they don't know either, or you've told them no matter what stupid thing they say, don't call on it, because that would make us agreeing with the audience out there saying, dummy! And we don't want to do that. That's not our
never.
So anyway, I want to hear what Marvin's got to say about all this.
Everything up through the promotion of this show has been a manipulation. Everything. From everything that is said by the cast, to everything that is said by Leslie, to everything that is said by Filoni, it is all meant for manipulation, because if Leslie can get up there and be like, guys, Star Wars saved my life. And talk about, I'm living my dream. Like, if I could go back and tell 12-year-old me get to make Star Wars, because then when a jerk like me says this is the worst thing that has ever happened to Star Wars, someone will be like, shut up, she's living her dream.
How dare you? She's a dreamer, I tell you.
If these people can sit there and pretend that this is their lifelong dream, that one lady who was like, the thing that I like about my character in this show is she's a very strong leader, and Star Wars doesn't have many female leaders because it's all very patriarchal. And I'm like, really? Because every positive leader in Star Wars is a female. Princess Leia, Mon Mothma, Padme, Hera Syndulla. They're all leaders. They're all female. You know nothing about this. This guy said Anakin blew up the Death Star twice, and it looks like two separate things. He says that we've never seen the Jedi be wrong. The entire prequel trilogy is about the Jedi being wrong. The story of the prequels, which was summed up so well by someone once, is it is the story of an arrogant religion that gets its hands on the Messiah and hands it to the devil.
So you're claiming that just because he only read the Wikipedia for the sequel trilogy, he's not a real Star Wars fan. That's your claim.
He knows that a Skywalker blew up the Death Star, so he thinks it's Anakin. They know nothing about this, and they're trying to. It would be less offensive to me for them to be like, you know what? I never really watched Star Wars, but I'm learning all about it by doing this, and it's really cool, and I can't believe I missed out on it all this time. Ewan McGregor was never a Star Wars fan, and you could tell anytime he talks about it. He never pretends that he's this super fan. All right, there we go.
No,
I would like to say, if I
point.
can make a point. Yes. I would like to say, I do think Leslie Headland, for all the problematic issues she has presented and awful things she's done that's going to hurt society in doing this show, especially for the male viewers.
We haven't even brought up her funding the effort against Gina Carano, Nolan. Continue.
Yeah. That
Nolan,
shit,
wait,
I
you
think,
used the
is
word
nothing up for the
problematic.
show.
Is Leslie as problematic as Tinkerbell? Yes or no?
Oh, obviously not. Like Tinkerbell having a pretty girl out there dressed as a fairy, that's sin. Get it out.
Body sensitivity.
Anyway,
but, I was doing some research prior to the show, and I was listening to one of Leslie's interviews back in 2020. She did it with the YouTube channel Fantastic Frankie, and in it, to my shock, she actually referenced the Red Letter Media Phantom Menace review, which was kind of shocking because that's kind of known for more so in the Star Wars sphere. So it does make me kind of wonder, like, she probably did study a bit into Star Wars, but it does make me question, seeing as how that's kind of known as one of the biggest, not to put it down the people behind Red Letter Media or anything, but one of the biggest trashing ever known to man of the Star Wars prequels. It does make you question, especially with Kathleen Kennedy's philosophy, how highly she really thinks of George Lucas's vision.
That's a great question. Lauren, before we hop to Super Chats one more time, and folks, I apologize. I don't mean one more time as in we're over. We've still got more stories to come. But Lauren, you brought up a great point in this morning's video here on the Pro Channel, and that is that you're surprised at how terrified they seem, at how squeamish they are about this show. You thought they would come out with shots ablazing. They would be excited. What do you make of this, Lauren, that when you get past the upper echelon, when you get past Leslie and Kathleen, they don't have a clue what they're talking about even behind that. So they don't even know if they should be worried or not.
Well, I think my point was primarily that there was so much talk about how this show might not even get off the ground. It's been in production for 4 years, and so many people were claiming that it was never going to come to light, that it wasn't a real production and all of that garbage. And so I felt like they would take this opportunity to swagger a little bit, to show, yeah, this was always real, you idiots, and it was always going to come out, and it's the best thing that we're ever going to do. And instead,
you're going to anger the birds again, Lauren. You're going to do it.
Well, I mean, they're coming out shooting their potential audience before a single episode is aired, and that's not something you do if you're confident. And don't get me wrong, I don't think they have any reason to be confident, but I thought to them this would be them sticking their thumb in our eye again, and instead they're just projecting fear, and that I think that's very interesting, and I'm happy to see it. But it did surprise me. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Lauren, do you think that's specific to Star Wars? And the reason I ask is I feel the same thing coming out of the publicity leading up to the opening of Tiana's bunghole.
They're really worried about that one.
I mean, I'm just saying the whole company is running in fear. And, every reaction seems to be that same way. And I totally agree with you. That's what they're projecting.
We did touch on that in the discussion this morning as well, that Disney itself as a whole is definitely on their back foot right now. But I feel like Lucasfilm has felt especially insulated because of Kathleen being who she is and what her reputation is. I think that she feels that she is completely untouchable, and that's not what she's projecting here. So I think that everything taken all together, especially with South Park and some of the trades beginning to come after her too, I think she might finally starting to be a little bit rattled. I don't know if that means anything.
I think she loves her legacy. Yeah. Whether it's a year or 3 years, she's done. And legacy is the issue. She's got money. She's got, accomplishments, love them or hate them. But she wants to go out as a winner. And she doesn't want everybody to be snickering in the background when they give her all the accolades they will give her when she leaves, saying, yeah, but she really screwed the pooch.
I think if she had won with Indy, if that had been a success, I think she would have shuffled out.
Yeah.
Well, do you know the saying that the devil hates nothing so much as to be mocked? I think that's really what we're seeing here, is that she has become the punchline to a joke, and the general public knows it. And that's death in Hollywood.
What that shows me, it is a showing of insecurity about what she's doing. She knows it's bad. So the way I always say it, like when you feel the need when someone attacks you to aggressively defend yourself or get that defensive, it's because you are aware that there is a kernel of truth. If you think this is somebody just being like, oh, whatever, like no one watches the pro show, like, you know, like you would think like, obviously that's false. But like when you think there's a kernel of truth in what that person is saying to you, that's when the shields go up because they're hitting you where it lives.
Well, I think there's two things about that. And the first is that I think that's why she made this statement. This statement wasn't about the female actors that are taking all this abuse. It's that she was personally attacked by South Park, and it caught the imagination of normal people. The other thing is we're attacking her ideology specifically. We're saying that your ideology is the one that is toxic, and people hold their ideology dear. So she has to come out and attack it. I don't think she can help herself. So
it's the difference between saying, well, you people just don't understand, to saying, you people don't understand because you're a bunch of doo-doo head morons. So there. That's the kind of childish fight back that you see in everything she's doing. You're absolutely right.
And let's not forget that Doomcock was the enemy in one of these Disney Plus shows, essentially. Folks, and the CFO of the Disney company was following Jonas on Twitter for a while. I think they pay very close attention. You know, this show, judging by our concurrent viewers right now, I've got a good feel for this. It will probably hit something like 20,000 total viewers. We've lost one of our panelists, as we say so, but we will probably hit something like 20,000 viewers by the time this is over, all in all. And they're paying attention to that. They're paying attention to you all because, again, you all are the energy that drives all of this. As you were all talking about Kathleen Kennedy's legacy, I couldn't help but think of a little ditty going through my head.
Now, commence Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck, suck, suck.
Make it more lame. And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stock?
All right.
I love that clip, man. That's my favorite clip.
Wouldn't it be interesting? You know, back when I was making television, there was this thing called TVQ. It was a very, very carefully done survey of who and in what order were the most popular actors. That if you just made up any old series, if you had this person in it, chances are it would get a decent viewing before people decided to like it or not. Wouldn't it be interesting to know before and after how many people in the general population of the United States of America were even aware of a person named Kathleen Kennedy before and after that show from South Park?
Let me tell you, South
you
Park
can't hide anymore,
Google.
lady.
No.
I would like to know the Google search results records for Kathleen and Bob after that special aired.
All right, Nolan, fine. Now we'll have to make a video on it. Look what you've done to us. Look what you've done. All right, folks, it's time to get to these super chats. CC Karaoke, who we hope is on the mend with $2 Canadian. The EU Forever Cannon. Yes, indeedly doodly. We've got Brandon here for $4.99. I personally think Leslie Headland looks like Perry the Platypus. Just my opinion.
Platypus?
Nice. Michael Nemo for $5. Does the novel for Sith make more senses as to why Anakin made such decisions? Because the script is pish poor, in my opinion. Panel, any thoughts?
Yeah. There's a couple of novels that really go into it, and I think that that the reading that was done earlier was an excellent example of that. I would also go to Shadows of the Empire, and I think there's one more Darth Vader novel that really delved into that a little bit. But
Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, I think is what you're referring to. That one delves really into his psyche. It's kind of like a little. It's my little trilogy there. It's like Labyrinth of Evil, then episode 3, and then Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. They're fantastic, and they really paint the episode 3 picture as this Renaissance, Judgment Day type event that it's meant to be as. There's so many little things that get completely lost in the film version.
Yep.
Very, very well said. Continuing right along, we have Ryan Matheson for $1.99. Power to the $1.99 out there. Love seeing you all out. Perfect balance of class and panache. Love you, LWG.
You are class and panache.
Oh,
That's
my
right.
goodness. That sounds like a Stephen J. Cannell detective show.
Panache
Class and
incarnate.
panache.
That's
No, but
right.
class and panache. One's offbeat and one's hard-boiled, and they I don't know. They dance to Mike Post music. Anyway.
I like it. Let's do it right now. All right, here we
Yeah.
go. Next up, we've got Enrique Vasquez, member for 10 months, and happy to have you out there in the audience. Always look forward to seeing your chats with us. Not only that, but he kept his marriage a secret, and that is part one of more. It says, to which leads to lies and more lies to cover that lie, referring to Anakin, I believe. Panel, agree, disagree?
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, but part of that is also the fact that the Jedi was so dogmatic in wanting to shield emotions from people that he had to hide it. That because the Jedi never embraced the spectrum of emotion, they shut themselves off from the important elements of life. Just more about how the Jedi Council was wrong in a lot of things that they do, which had a light shown on it. This guy knows absolutely nothing about what he's talking about.
Yeah, but that's a lot of that is because you had the issues with attachment that prior Jedi had, whether you were talking about Ulic and K. Keldroma or eventually leading up to the... Yeah, and even going to Revan and Bastila. And so gradually the Jedi Council draws more and more power to itself and becomes more rigid in their thinking, which eventually leads to their entire non-attachment policy. And so I think you can see in the history of the Jedi and the Sith, that's what led to the Jedi sort of putting themselves in an ivory tower and disconnecting from the people and losing why compassion was so important. Now, the problem with that for Anakin is that he wanted to have it all. He could have had his wife had he left the Jedi Order, but he wasn't willing to do that. He could have gone and tried to save his mother, but he would have had to have left the Jedi Order, and he wasn't willing to do that. And so because of that, he kept compounding his own mistakes and going further down the path of evil.
Now, we
He
can bring up Luke.
everything, and he ended up with nothing.
We could bring up Luke here, but let's keep moving.
That isolation. Yeah, it's that isolation that cuts them off from even being able to believe in the concept of the Bane Sith.
Yep.
Continuing on,
what
though,
would have
folks.
happened to the Vulcans if Spock hadn't shown him another way?
Wonderful conversation. So I'm telling you, this is my favorite show, other than the time that Kathleen Kennedy was going into the Cannes premiere of Indy, and on the way in, they announced the closure of Galaxy's Edge, and on the way out, they announced that they were going to kick Willow out and banish it forever. And that was clearly a message sent from Iger to Kennedy. That might be my favorite, but this is right in the money. This is running with that neck and neck. And because of this awesome panel, every single person. And we're missing right now a few of our panelists we started with, but their memory is alive and well. Brandon for 199, power to the 199. Mace is alive. No one dies in Disney Star Wars.
Brandon, they do if they can't sell merch of him anymore.
That's exactly right. They'll kill all those critters from Young Jedi Adventures. You just wait. Every one of those items was on clearance at Meijer. Ruby Who for 5. Centralia is a Pennsylvania town that has a mine fire under it, still burning, and they can't put it out. It's like that the Devil's Cauldron somewhere over in Eastern Europe, I believe, too, is similar. All right, we've got Enrique Vasquez again for 5. I haven't seen either show, but I think she means for the sequel of That's So Raven, Raven's House. I think they tried to make her adult character queer-coded.
That makes more sense.
Yes, you're exactly right, but that would also mean that as a child, she was that as well, because they do not believe necessarily in fluidity unless it is advantageous in the moment. TLJ Screwjob for 5. According to current year Hollywood, Rock Hudson wouldn't be a star because he was playing straight men, right? Or am I misunderstanding the Ruels?
Wait, take it a step further. One of his best friends and co-star in Giant, Liz Taylor. So what would it make her if she was portraying somebody who was in love with somebody who was really gay in a movie? I don't know, but man, we can go down this rabbit hole as far as you want to go.
Marvin, make it make sense.
It is it only, this rule goes in one direction. Gay people can play straight people cannot play gay. That is the rule they've set up. It's like you can take you could take like a black person, for instance, and insert them into Norse mythology or King Arthur's court or feudal Japan, apparently. But you can't take, a guy from Ireland and put him into a story about like African culture. It doesn't work the other way around.
Heads up, Matt.
I was just about to say the same thing. It only goes in one direction. That's the craziest part about it, because honestly, the real issue isn't so much a straight guy playing a gay guy or a gay guy playing a straight guy. The issue is the ideology behind all of that, and why is it so important to push that in Hollywood and in movies? Why do we have to push? Say, well, this is only gay people can play gay people. We can't allow actors just to be actors. They can. I think I forget who it was. It was Halle Berry or Scarlett Johansson says I should be able to play a tree if I want to. It doesn't matter.
Johansson, I think.
This is play pretend. So it
going
really
further
is
now.
frustrating when you see that stuff, man.
They're going even further. They're saying you can't write about certain things
That too,
unless you
yeah.
are that thing. Quentin
Right, and
Tarantino, they tried to tell Quentin Tarantino he couldn't write about black issues because he's white. And he said, as a writer and a creative, I demand the right to write whatever character I want. I demand the right to think them. I demand the right to speak them. I demand the right to be them. Because when you stop that, you stop creativity.
Well, that's the hyper empathic impulse that tells them that you can have such empathy that you cannot empathize with those who are different from you in whatever minutia they come up with. All right, folks, Jedi Bill, member for 6 months, and we're honored that you are a member for 6 months. Welcome to the 6 month club and the new badge, the new loyalty badge that you have. Jedi Bill says, I am an honored member of this great channel. No, sir, we are honored that you are a member of this great channel. It's in the reverse. We're happy to have you because all of you out there, you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
And folks, we're going to jump to something that just happened out there. The chat is quickly turning green as we are still continuing to hold about 800 of you in the audience, even in this late hour. And look, oh my, John Maynor, folks, coming in with the big one, 50 WDW Pro memberships gifted. What an utterly kind thing to do. I think it's time to celebrate. If I can click the button.
Perfect.
Things are going down the crapper. It's not good for investors. It's not just one bad decision. You're getting a golfing tree in. Dang it, Bob! Your spending's been illegal. Your leadership is fatal. We expect more leaks than rumors. Makes no sense hiring. Disney is so unstable. What's the profitability timetable? It's time to fire Iger. This is just another Budweiser. Dang it, Bob.
All right. Thank you, Wilton, for celebrating along with us and with John Maynor. John, you are such a great supporter of the channel, and you really do help us continue to fund investigative journalism in entertainment. We are truly, truly appreciative of everything you do. And for those of you out there gifting memberships, thank you, each and every one. Chuck Henry, member for 10 months, says they don't believe that selfishness is evil. That's right. They believe in the self as the primary source, so long as the self is part of the tribe and never moving outside. Doggy, member for 4. Woke guys preach the falsehood of moral relativism. Absolutely. Well, what is wokeism, folks? This keeps getting asked over and over. What is woke? Woke is Marxism in which socioeconomic status has been changed to immutable differences. So your background, the color of your skin, your ethnicity, your sex, your gender, those are the new categories because those categories cannot so easily be changed. And therefore, if you are oppressed, you are always oppressed. And that is the nifty little thing they've switcherooed inside Marxism and how we are where we are today. Jack White and Jack, it has been too long, my friend. We have been missing you in the audience, whether or not you donate. The bottom line is, Jack, we love having you in the audience and love hearing your opinions on anime. It's so great to see you back out there. We miss our friends when they're not with us. Jack White for 50. The problem with KK and Headland is that they are both ignorant narcissists who love to cite theories and arguments that originate from some of the biggest degenerates of the 20th century. And somebody really needs to point that out to them.
Jack?
Yes, indeed.
Jack, when you're an ignorant narcissist, nobody can point out anything to you.
It does make it. It is a great shield to prevent it, right?
I'm just saying they're not capable of understanding. Expecting them to wake up and have a come to reality moment is it shows your goodwill and optimism, but it isn't reality. It isn't the way these things work.
Thing is, at least for Leslie, she's stated that she's acknowledged the fact that she's a narcissist, or at least used to be one. So,
now she's better.
Yeah, I'm not saying better, but
no, that's what she said. Well, I used to be one of those, but now I'm even better because I'm not anymore. That's how marvelous I am and unnarcissistic, right?
Folks, take a look at this. We've got a battle of the super chats. This one in response to Jack from Draco Draconis for 20. Jack White, Kathleen Kennedy killed Star Wars by trying to make it her Star Wars. I guess you could say she sort of made Star Wars herstory. I know it was a bad joke. It was.
Can't you see that she did exactly the right thing in the context of her world? Because after all, she wasn't making Star Wars hers. She was making Disney's Star Wars her Star Wars, and nobody was paying any attention to the fact that Star Wars was George's. How far back do you go? Yeah, if you supersede everything, if it's Disney's oatmeal or Disney's whatever, it's a real world egotistic example of what happened to the brand Kleenex. It became so ubiquitous that their name became irrelevant.
Any other thoughts on that one, guys?
They're trying to erase George.
When they got Star Wars, instead of going with the brand image of trying to make it equality for boys and girls out there, or whatever you identify as, she instead decided to willingly put on a shirt that literally says "The Force is female," excluding any other type of gender out there. Female. You're not trying to make it equal. You're trying to make this your girl's brand. So in other words, you're telling the little boys, get out. And you're bringing lots more attention to the fact that little 12-year-old, 10-year-old Timmy, hey, let me tell you about how little Sally Lou is different from you, as opposed to what you have in common. And this is a huge soap opera, a space opera about creatures and aliens and different stuff. Shouldn't this be one of the most progressive? And I don't mean that in the overused term nowadays, but one of the most authentically progressive shows ever made, much like how old school Star Trek was, how it was authentically progressive. We
should keep Kathleen Kennedy away from Dr. Seuss. She'll change Cindy Lou to Cindy Lou Watt. All right, going now to Jack White, not Watt, White. Jack White for 20. Jack, you are so generous tonight. Some space series recommendations for the panel that will hopefully satisfy that Star Wars and Star Trek whole Star Blazers, the original 80s series, and the reboot from 2017 or 18, Eden's Zero, Cowboy Bebop, which by the way gets a lot of praise, Cowboy Bebop, and the Gundam franchise. So I know a lot of folks on the panel, Jack, are big fans of that. And Jack, that's a great gift to give to the audience out there who might be looking for something to satisfy their sci-fi needs. Very, very kind of you, Jack.
And by and large, although they've made some mistakes too, I would say that Stargate is worth enjoying.
I agree wholeheartedly. Ken Reihart for 2. KK exits when she wants or when she feels like it. Well, we're going to find out, that's for sure, because this October, the contract runs out, and we can't talk yet about what we're hearing, but, and I'm not saying that, folks, to be disingenuous. I'm saying that because we're careful. If we don't know, or if we don't think we know, we try not to report it until we're closer to having an answer.
Let's just put it this way.
It's not going to matter too much.
Let's just put it this way. If we can only speculate on what the heck Leslie had to get picked up during that we're not hiring, we're not doing new stuff period that got her what she's gotten, what does KK have on Big Bob?
Good question. Good question indeed. All right. Samuel Maine, 3 for a super sticker. I honestly think that Leslie Headland was hired to give Kathleen Kennedy a defense against the C-suite at Disney. We're not going to go into there right now, but I've said it for a long time. Go and Shogi for 5. I don't know why they hate Tinkerbell so much. They kind of hijacked her haircut. Yeah, they wanted her hair.
But that's because Tinkerbell never wore a bowling shirt.
Anyway, they wanted her hair, not her hips. not her hips. Jack White for 5. And the Legend of the Galactic Heroes, both the original series and the reboot series, Astra Lost in Space. Excellent additions to the Super Chat. Folks, make sure you check those out. Definitely 100%. Kitty Bear. Kitty Bear, it's been a long time as well. We're happy to see you in the chat. Always good to see our friends that we remember from a while ago who are rejoining. And sometimes it's just because we're on at an hour that they can tune in. So Kitty Bear, happy to see you. Tinkerbell, worse. She helped kidnap the little boys. Well, it's the opposite for Leslie, isn't it?
Oh.
All right, Draco, back for 2 says, Doomcock from the center of the earth. All right. No, Doomcock and I are not the same, and we've been on the same panels before, and we love Doomcock. Send him all kinds of love. I think he was having a great Friday night live stream before we got started, and wish him all the best. Cyrano for 5. Due to Kathleen Kennedy's silence, do you think Headland and Filoni are calling the shots for Star Wars? I think that Kathleen Kennedy is a helicopter parent with no idea what's going on in the sport in which her kids play. Is that a good way to describe it, guys?
I think South Park hit the nail on the head. All she does is she pops in and just says, put a chicken in it, make a gay.
Welcome back, Lauren. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Lauren has arrived just in time for that one. All right, we've got now apologies on this one. I don't know if this is if I'm supposed to pronounce this with a Spanish pronunciation or English. So I'm going to say Relana 1, and then I'm going to say in Spanish either Rejana 1 or Reyana 1, depending on which part we're from. Do you think KK tainted the Legends novels as well as the more recent Star Wars as well? Lauren, you just hopped back in. Take that. You're in the hot seat. You give the answer.
No, I don't think the Legends novels have been tainted. I do think that to a certain extent, some of the original stuff has been tainted going backwards. But if you're able to compartmentalize and just say the sequels don't exist, then you're probably okay. I will say that I was so demoralized after watching The Rise of Skywalker the one time that I saw it. I had not watched the prequels or the original trilogy since 2019. And it's only in the last week that my son suddenly wanted to start watching the movies. And so we watched The Phantom Menace in the theatrical re-release this last weekend. And we just watched Attack of the Clones last night. So it's the first time I've seen the original movies in a while, and it was nice. It was good to get back to it and actually enjoy myself. So
how was the reaction from your watching partner?
He's always loved the movies, but it's only recently that he started asking me some more detailed questions about it. So I think he might be hitting that age where he can really start getting into it. So
super cool, super cool. That's a great time. Go and Shogi for $4.99. I'm redoing a couple rooms. By the way, folks, before I read this, I just want to tell you, this might be the super chat of the night. I'm just saying. You know, Lauren, that's it, Lauren. We've had it with you, hopping in and out like this. What is he up to over there? Go and Shogi for $4.99. He's back again. We'll let him back in. All right. Come on, Lauren. You
Technical difficulties. I'm working on it.
Sure, you tease us, Lauren. You tease us with your presence. We know. Go and Shogi for $4.99. I'm redoing a couple rooms, and I'm a fan of security. Hang tight, folks. Do you think Leslie can suggest a good lock for office doors?
And a camera and recording system.
Ruby Who for $2. Centralia is estimated to burn 250 years at least, which, by the way, puts it about on par with Star Wars. All right, Sterling Jones for $5. No. Star Wars can still be saved if Kathleen Kennedy and everybody who supports her is fired. Sterling Jones for $5. Does Anakin fall to the dark side if Qui-Gon was his master? I don't think so. Thoughts?
Nope. Nope, he wouldn't, because Obi-Wan could only be like the stern older brother to Anakin. Qui-Gon could be the father Anakin never had, and he would have been. Qui-Gon was also more loose compared. He drove the Jedi Council crazy. He probably would have known about Padme and probably wouldn't have said anything about it. That's my thought.
Anakin would have gotten the acceptance that he needed from Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon and Anakin are a lot alike, and he would have learned to be a better Jedi through Qui-Gon and believe in the living Force. And I also think that Hayden Christensen would have been a better actor if Liam Neeson was on the set being like, don't do it like that, do it like this.
I'm on the catering would have been better too. The catering
I'm
would
of
have
the
been much
opinion
better.
that Palpatine was gonna get him no matter what, and he would have set something up for Qui-Gon to fall into, maybe go after him himself.
Well, he
I'm
did.
of that opinion. I think that Anakin was destined to fall to the dark side. That was basically what it was all about. So even if Qui-Gon had survived, I think they would have got him eventually.
And
That's where
Palpatine
I'm
knew to send Darth Maul to kill Qui-Gon specifically, so and that he would be taken out.
Yeah.
Well said all. All right, next one we've got House Atreides for 5, saying Kathleen Kennedy is waiting for a hit, but she keeps making the same mistakes. She's hoping fans are like a broken clock. Hour equals years, correct twice in 25 years. And even then, I'm not sure she actually is the one who's due credit for anything that's went well. It's a struggle for me to imagine her being competent with something at this point. Kamchi 199, don't you get it? Kathleen is a conduit for the Iger cult. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. We also have John Maynor, member for 8 months. I'm glad to see this evening show on and have only been getting more busy after getting more responsibilities at work. What an amazing day to wind down from the day. Thank you, Pro and Uncle John. Thank you for all that you do and for your support of the channel. It is fantastic. And we'll say thank you one more time right after this. Enrique Vasquez for another 2. Man, do I miss these great conversations about Star Wars. That might be why I'm having such a great time tonight. And we've actually went longer than we were anticipating, but that's because this has been wonderful to get back to this. It's such a good time. And I'll tell you, here's another example of that. When we first started tonight, Lauren was making many people in the audience, very frustrated. How can you possibly be agreeing with this, Lauren? And then as the night has progressed, I think that we've all come to understand the nuance here, and everybody's having a good time bouncing back and forth. And my, oh my, what a bad show it would have been if it was a monolithic response when I'd said, all right, everybody, let's just dive in. Let's all pile on. Here we go. And we spoke in unison. Great additions from everybody on the panel tonight. John Maynor, we want to say
so we have more personality than the Disney C-suite, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we're not all standing in unison going, Iger, Iger, Iger. We've got Rio Hoshi, member for 5 months. My favorite member of the panel is Ginger Cat. That's right. We're talking about Ginger Cat.
It's yours, Matt.
Ginger Cat.
Oh.
They also may have been talking about me.
That is that's Vincent. Vincent or Vinny. Yeah.
Does Vincent? Oh, that's well. So okay. Let's keep moving forward.
Star Wars. He's seen more Star Wars than the entire cast of the Acolyte, and if he comes back, we can ask him about it.
Love it, absolutely, folks. I want to get this poll out to all of you. Let's send that out, and we'll keep moving. We've got Angela Richter for $10. Sorry I was late, but I've had a bad couple of days. Thanks for making them better. Well, Angela, there's no greater gift that we could receive than the idea that we're making your day and the days of others out there better by listening to us. That is a true honor, and we appreciate you letting us know that we're doing good things for you. It's what we truly, absolutely want. All right, we've got more love coming in for Ginger Cat. Now we know the name of the mascot for the Pro Channel. Vincent getting the love from Ruby Who for 2. Love the Ginger Cat.
Nolan, your face is an open book.
Wow. You gonna take that, girls? You gonna take that? I'd like to let everybody in the audience know I'm resigning from the Pro Show now. It's been a good run, everybody.
Love it. All right, we've got Nom de Plume for $4.99. Kathleen Kennedy made Star Wars her story and turned the brand into his story. I get that. Well played. That's a nice switch. That is a nice switch. That was clever. That was very, very clever. Did you guys like that? Did you see how that worked? That was a nice switch.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
All right, Starling Jones coming in for $5. I hope that John Boyega continues to stay away from Star Wars. He got burned badly, and now they want him back in the Rey movie. Nope. Yes, they don't like to. They don't like to mention that.
What Rey movie is that? Is there a Rey movie?
Could be, maybe. We'll be talking about it this week. But by the way, they don't like that we support John Boyega and that we think that his character was done dirty. They really don't like that we think that, because that ruins their narrative. but it is what it is. Mr. Burger, if you will, they call him Mr. Burger. For 5, Disney is dead. Everyone on the panel needs to watch the Mr. Burger Show cartoon, the greatest indie comedy cartoon ever made. Well, I like mine with, how does it go? I like mine with pickles and tomato, Heinz 57, and French fried potatoes. I think that's how it goes. I hope that's in the cartoon. Who knows? And man, it stinks and it sucks that we've lost so many people in the last year or years. So Jimmy Buffett too. No fun. No fun. Jack White for 10. Yeah, but those things like the girl boss originates from an ugly French lesbian academic who abused her position to get her female students to do her. That's right, Jack.
Bidding.
I know how to play the
Bidding
game.
is the word that got left out. Bidding.
That's right. I know how to play the game here. I know the pregnant pauses, pun intended, that are necessary.
See, I wouldn't have known, but a guy named Slade something taught me.
Oh, Slade. Slade is your teacher, eh? Now Jonas can understand what's going on. Weird for 2. Okay. Weird. We could put it on the screen, but I can't say it on YouTube. I apologize. Oh.
I saw that
You're
one
talking
pop
about
up,
that
and
guy
I was wondering
Adolf.
how you were gonna...
Weird. No. Anyway, go ahead.
All I can tell you is it's one of the greatest South Park episodes of all time. That's all I can tell.
Yes.
Jeremy Winfield for 2. What does Bobby Iger's legacy look like? Well, it looked a lot better 2017 and before, and now it's definitely not. It's a bipolar legacy for sure. He performed. He was one of the greatest CEOs of his time until he moved the company into polarity, into politics, to partisanship, and that's thrown everything into chaos. And now the stock is half of
He
what
should
it
have never
was.
came back.
Jeremy,
never.
Agreed. He could have
Jeremy-
gone out as one of the most popular CEOs of all time, and
Ever.
with now we call it charisma, but with the impact he's made on pop culture, with the examples with the Avengers movies, Star Wars, Pixar, he could have gone down as a legend in the business sense, and now he's kind of seen as a joke.
Well,
No,
he's
he's
still
still
a
going
legend.
down.
He's just a legend like Darth Vader, not like Luke Skywalker. That's all. Legends come in all different sizes, shapes, and configurations. But Jeremy, yours prompts a thought from me. A show I did many years ago had a great line. The mother is talking to her son, and she says, "You know, your father was a terrible liar." "Oh, yeah, he told me he had a great inheritance. It turns out it was male pattern baldness." So that's the legacy. Legacies,
I love it.
Legacies change.
I love it. All right.
You retire
Bobby
a
Iger
hero.
sounds like a
What
Chicago
does it say?
Black.
You retire a hero, but you come back. I don't know how to work that. You know what I'm saying, right? You either retire a hero or you return and you become the villain.
Come back
That's
to
what he's
zero.
done to his legacy.
That's right. And I also want to give a shout out to Culture Casino is out there in the audience. Culture is getting ready for some things he's got to do. He was unable to make the panel, but we love Culture Casino, love checking out all of his successes. And I'm very excited, folks. We've already announced this. Culture Casino is going to be directing the new gaming channel, which will be coming out in June, part of That Part Place Network. It's going to be That Game Place. And Culture and Jonas are going to be primarily leading it. I'm going to be helping out. Nolan and some others are going to be participating as well. And we're going to have a dandy of a time covering the gaming industry. BGG beware. That's all I got to say. Cyrano. For the great conversation, we forgive Lorne for not liking Buckaroo Banzai. I knew that would make LW happy. Oh, that's a good one.
Well, no. And by the way, for those who wonder, sneak preview, Lauren and I and our buddy with the table. Next up, I'll just tell you that 3 seashells and Taco Bell are involved, and you can draw your own conclusions.
There you go. All right, Jack White dropping a huge $100 super chat. Jack, that is very kind of you. Thank you so much for doing so. And folks, we do want to say this. Just a reminder out there, always make sure to super chat responsibly. If you have the disposable and you want to spend it, do so and do so well. But if you are spending more than perhaps you should, also beware that. We're not suggesting that of Jack White. We're just reminding folks out there, You and your families always come first, and we always
Hey,
care
our
about
next
you.
channel could be Super Chatters Anonymous.
That's right. To regain
Well,
interest
I was
in Star
thinking
Wars,
the same thing. Oh no.
they
This
need
is
to
a
fire
problem.
Kathleen Kennedy and everyone she's hired and take a page out the book of Javier Milei and have someone standing next to a fire pit and throwing pictures of the characters and the posters of the Disney trilogy into the fire. Jack White here referencing the new president of Argentina, who has
a genius.
come
He's
in and
wonderful.
yes, who has come in and immediately fixed all of their budgetary issues in just a week or so. It's amazing what anti-corruption will do and how much our media despises it. Not to get political, but it is what it is. Panel, this is a $100 super chat. Anyone have any other thoughts on this one? I don't want to cut this one short.
Jack, I love your super chat. I'm with you in spirit. But when you say they need to fire anybody, the problem is who's they? They haven't got a they who's, I tell it almost every show, it seems, but the old story about how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Answer, 1. But the light bulb has to want to change. This one just wants to keep glowing along.
And Jack, for that $100 super chat, I don't want to just read it and then give comments. Jack, we need to get you something going on here on the channel soon. But we have tried to take care of the folks out there who support us so well. And there are so many out there that we still have yet to get a commercial for. But I want to show everybody this as we're winding down the show. This is one of my favorites that we've worked on recently. Everybody take a look and enjoy.
Hello there and hi there from Quick Buck Comics. We've been watching as companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal all universally suck. And then we watched as companies like Rippaverse and Big Man Comics came in to save the day. That's when we realized we could make crappy comics and do it the cheap way, by not doing the hard work that Rippaverse and Big Man Comics were doing. We've got characters like John Maynard, William Thompson, and Staccato DDS. Why? Because we stole them from the WDW Pro audience. Because making characters is hard. And by the end of every comic, you get to draw your own panels. Why? Because art is hard. But please, folks, when you're done, make sure to buy our coffee that's made by someone else with our label slapped on it. Why? You guessed it. Making coffee is hard.
All right. Continuing right along, folks. Samuel Main, member for 6 months. Great live stream. And Samuel, even better audience, I would say. Weird for 5. Weird. One good thing about streaming is that all you need to do to fix the last 2 decades is hit delete. No physical media. No proof it existed. Start over. That is one possibility.
Another
John.
multiverse?
Another timeline, perhaps? John JID 999 says, what do y'all think about Tarantino's last movie for 2? Guys, what do you think of Tarantino's last movie?
I hope it isn't.
I think
I hope he makes
he's
more.
not doing it, right? Didn't he thumb his nose
Yeah,
at
the
Hollywood?
movie critic, I
Forget
think
you, I'm not doing it.
pulled the plug.
So the most recent was Sly, right?
Or is he talking about his last movie that he did once upon a time in Hollywood?
Yeah, that's what I think he was asking. Maybe.
Guys, correct me.
I love
liked it. It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh, I see what I understand now. I apologize. I was thinking the last movie, as in the last one that came out.
That's what I thought.
Understand?
Yeah.
You guys are right. So we'll be watching, John, and we'll cover it here on the channel if we possibly can. All right, we've got Draco again for 11:50 or for 10. Sorry, I'm calling out the time. For 10, Jack White Bonfire. Count me in. Well, it's so heartening to find that you all are having fun out there, one with another. Just remember, guys, when it comes to Bonfire and how to grill,
What if somebody wants theirs well done?
We ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
It looks like John clarified that he was asking about Tarantino's last movie, meaning the final one that he intends to make.
Final movie. Oh,
gotcha.
But he's not doing it. Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't he keep calling a bunch of his previous movies his last movie, though?
Well, he said he would do 10 movies. And then
that
this
makes
is
Sly
going to
the
be, next
final,
movie
right?
would be the 10th.
Gotcha. Well, so as of right now, Sly is the final one. So we'll look into this more. Great question. Mini Boogerks for $4.99. They all serve the Dark Lord Sauron, and he didn't even have to give them any rings. That's right.
I heard he did give them some nice wigs, though.
No, he
Well
engaged
played.
in some pin trading, I think.
Oh, Nita. Welcome back, Nita. We're so happy to see you. And Nita, that was so generous and so kind. Thank you so much. Nita, for 1 penny short of 100. Getting tired of seeking all the reviews used of how beautifully Tiana's bunghole with moss ride looks. How much Tiana Kool-Aid have people been drinking? Glad to hear some truth tonight with a side of sarcasm. And well, we're going to be trying to get some on-ride footage real soon. Of,
We
Tiana's.
do. Vash and I did something with that yesterday, the day before.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's worse than you think.
Yeah, we watched a little bit of it on the Park Place stream, right, Lou?
Right. That was it.
Well, I'll tell you this. They know they've got a problem. They know they got a really, really big problem. And tomorrow morning, and hopefully I can get it done in time. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to cover the chaos that's behind the finale song, which is that You're the Spice. Can't get into it too much right now, or else we'll give away the video in the morning. But they realize they have a real stinker. You're going from Zippity Doo-Dah, which is a song proper, to You're the Spice, which is a 90-second, just awful song. I mean, it sounds like it's worse than AI generated. Now, it comes from a Grammy Award winner, but literally, I could go into AI right now and make a better song in 5 minutes than what they have for the finale. And they're freaking out. They're freaking out about it because they cannot play that throughout the parks. If they play that, remember, Zippity Doo-Dah and Laughing Place, those were played all over the parks. If they play You're the Spice, people are going to be sitting in Main Street going, what the crap is that? Get that off the speakers, man. Ron, you got any thoughts on this one?
That's not the song that they are playing on the outside of the attraction at all. You hear down in New Orleans a lot. And then when the logs come off of the slide down and the bottom, they are playing a Almost There, just a non-vocal version of Almost There. And I will say this, you got to give credit where credit is due. This is very interesting about the Almost There, and there's things that I don't like about it. There's some things that I like, little touches that they've done. They have like sounds of birds and crickets and frogs kind of making their sounds along with that Almost There song, but it's actually pretty far away from the actual attraction itself because it's where the bottom of the ride is. So
sure.
It's where people are viewing it from a distance from, and that's an attraction regardless of how it looks that people are going to stop and watch. My overall thought on the attraction is, right now it's getting ready to open. You see the people out there. I'm out there a lot right now because that's my biggest thing that I'm covering. And
Ron, when are you going to ride it for the first time?
The 13th of June.
How about we change that, Ron? Ron, is it okay if we change that?
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend of mine who's a cast member that was going to help me preview it on the 5th, but he broke his toe, so he can't go.
Ron, will you go and be my person on the 6th? I've got someone who's going to take you on the ride. Will you do that for me?
All right, yeah, I'll happily do it.
All right, Ron, you're going to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure June 6th. We'll share information behind the scenes after the show. And Nita, thank you so much for the super chat. The finale song is a real fiasco.
By the way, talking about showing this on-ride footage that's already out there, can I suggest right here in public in front of everybody a really good video to do, Pro? Compare the on-ride footage of Tiana with the footage that's coming out of Japan on the Fantasy Springs rides.
What I thought about,
so gorgeous, so beautiful, so
what
wonderful.
I thought about, Lou, is I would like to run 3 split screens on the same video. Top left, Tiana's. Top right, Splash Mountain in Tokyo. Bottom, Fantasy Springs. Let them run simultaneous and let people figure out where they're getting hosed.
And making the point for everybody says we're always negative. We're not negative at all about what Disney can do if they're willing to spend the money or have somebody spend it for them in this case. They just don't do it for themselves because they think, people will go anyway.
Exactly.
That's the tragedy of it. And that stuff, folks, the stuff out of Fantasy Springs, my God, that Tangled ride, it's just and I tell you what, the Peter Pan ride is about 80% screens, and it's great. So it isn't just about spending the money on the animatronic figures. It's about understanding how to tell a story and set a mood. And it's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Indeed. Saitama says, never forget, Iger vets every film 3 times. Yes. Yes, he watches
Or 4,
it 7
or 5.
times over. Yes, he can't get enough. He is the ultimate critic. Heath Nielsen, member for 6 months. It was everyone's fault all along. Talking about our poll asking who is to blame. And by the way, let's end that poll and see who wins in terms of whose fault is Darth Vader. Let's see. It's being tallied right now. And here we have it, folks. 53% of you say that Anakin was at fault. Yoda picks up 19%. Kenobi at 18%. And poor Qui-Gon, he actually comes away with a win. Only 8% of you blame Qui-Gon for Darth Vader. All
The
right.
only one we know it wasn't the fault of is, what's his name? Driver, right? Because he told us it wasn't his fault.
Yes. Photon Empress dropping massive kindness on the channel. 9999. Folks, if you're counting, if you're a mathematician, that's
Thank
a penny
you.
short of 100. Every Disney CEO seems to have an expiration date. Eisner was Disney's savior until he wasn't. Iger was Disney's savior until he wasn't. Not sure who will be next, but they will likely turn things around and make it magical again until they don't. And they outlive their good times, and that's a real shame. I think that Iger, though, has damaged the company and damaged the brand far more than Eisner ever even thought about.
Absolutely.
Without question.
I also think we have another 70s decade ahead of us with Disney. There's so much confusion at the company in the 70s when after Walt passed away. And I think that we've got 10 to 15 years like that after Iger's gone.
Go fund yourself, Bob.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Wilton jumping in again.
Talk about
Go
a
ahead,
split
Marvin.
screen.
No, I was saying Iger's biggest contribution has been my friend Kevin Apollo, who co-hosts one of my shows with me. He calls him the great purchaser because while Eisner created, Iger purchased IPs from outside, brought them in, bought studios, bought entire franchises, and just that is his legacy. Was he just bought everything and not making his money back on it?
Well, the problem is
And
he
I'll
destroys
point
that
out-
which he buys.
Yeah. I'll point out that in a way, Walt was exactly like that, only he bought stuff that was free, like Snow White and Cinderella and all this great IP, as we call it now, that was just good stories that were out there waiting to become Disney's good stories.
That's right. And
Walt was
those
the
things
creator.
still exist.
Eisner was a visionary, and Bob, he just buys whatever the cool kids are buying these days.
Walt was okay. Say that again, Nolan. I like that. Walt was a
Walt
a visionary.
was a creator.
Creator.
Eisner was a visionary,
And
and
Iger
then
has a
Bob
debit
just
card.
buys whatever the kids like.
Got it. Well said. And
Thank
again,
you.
Photon Empress, thank you so much. That was very generous and very kind of you. We appreciate that. Weird. Happy seeing you again. For 2, bring up view count of amazing digital circus. Well, we'll have to bring that up sometime soon and see how things are going. And by the way, the view count for the Galactic Star Cruiser video, oh my gosh, that video has gone hyper viral. I don't know if you guys have seen that lately, but I think it passed 5 million views the other day. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brian, member for 2 months, says Disney box office this year will be good. Now what? The Disney box office this year probably won't be good. Not to rain on the parade, but they're really highly dependent now on Moana. Mufasa was ratioed, so that's not good. That's a very poor indicator of where that's going. And Inside Out 2, I think they're feeling serious anxiety about it. So really, their hopes and dreams are all pinned
To
on
coin
Moana.
a phrase, they're feeling
Deadpool and
anxiety
Wolverine too.
about it.
Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, will do well. So you've got 2
Yeah,
movies
the newest
now.
Disney classic,
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine. It'll be part of the Diamond Collection.
So, but think about this. Back in 2019, Disney pulled in more than $4 billion in box office revenue. This year, where is Disney going to pull even half of that? It's hard to see how that's going to happen. They need Deadpool and Wolverine plus Moana 2 to go gonzo for them to have any chance of matching pre-pandemic levels.
Is the Wolverine plushie going to have expandable adamantium claws or not? I mean, it's going to be right up there with anxiety. Yeah.
If it does, it'll have to be 5 and up. Hypnotic and Rapture, member for 10 months. Pro would make a great VTuber for his 100K stream. Well, when we do hit 100K, we've already started talking about what it is we're going to do. We were just celebrating 70K the other day, and folks, because of you all out there and the goodness and the kindness of your support, we're closing in. We're about 60 subs away from 71K. So, I mean, it's just amazing the goodness that is raining down on us. But we've got
which
big plans
might
for
be a
100K.
good moment to tell all these newly greened people that they should subscribe and share with their friends.
Absolutely. Make sure that you are subscribed. Share this out, folks, because
it's free.
It's free. 3 videos a day on your way. Fret not, folks, for content is delivered fresh daily. And you'll think it's nice, even thrice. Christopher Burke for 10. I remember seeing Star Wars on its first day of release. It just blew my mind.
Me
As soon as
too.
it was labeled
Me
Part
too.
4, I knew it was doomed. The prequels, blah, sequels. Nope. The Force is female. Blah, ha, ha, ha. Christopher, indeed, it has devolved. No doubt about it. Derek, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I remember seeing Star Wars for the first time when I was a kid in theaters, 5 years old. Couldn't believe what I was watching. Even back then, I knew I was watching something special. My first real strong memory is watching The Empire Strikes Back, and just everything that film was, and it's still, in my opinion, the best Star Wars film that we've ever gotten. It's just a shame, sadly, that we see Star Wars in the state that it's in. It's just hard to imagine sometimes, because when we grew up, that Lucasfilm logo, that was like magic. You saw that logo come on the screen, whether it was for Star Wars or for Indiana Jones. It's just magical.
Something incredible was about to happen.
Something incredible was about to happen, and you were all for it, and you were excited, and you couldn't wait. And now it's like, what is that Lucasfilm logo? It just signals something like, oh my God, what are we about to get?
Look at how
what
the
are they gonna
logo
do to
looks
the
these
characters and the
days.
franchises we love?
Take the logo. It used to be that green shimmering shine to it. Now it's all just bleak and void of any color.
Yeah.
It's kind of symbolic in a way. It's kind of like morning.
Yeah. So it's really just it's sad, man. It's sad, but that's why I think in my opinion, these conversations are important, because not only do we get to kind of get cathartic and just kind of release some of the frustration from some of these franchises that we've loved for so long, but I know, like you said, Pro, they're watching, they're listening, they know what they're doing or what they're not doing is giving us the content that we want, and they're watching the viewership drop off the side of a cliff. They're not making the money that they're used to. I don't know if any Acolyte toys are going to be sold this summer. I doubt it. I mean, it's just going to be a disaster once again for another Star Wars project. And so it's good for them to hear us. And, even if they're not watching, they know what we're talking about. And maybe somewhere down the line, that's like my hope. Somewhere down the line, somebody will you know what? Let's just go ahead and give these guys what they want. It's not working. What we tried to do isn't working. Let's just give these guys what they want, and let's see if it works. And I guarantee you, if you start giving Star Wars fans what we've been asking for, it will turn around. But it might not turn around immediately, but it will turn around eventually. And then, the fan base will come back. Those that they have lost, some of those guys they've lost forever, but a lot of people will come back. But yeah, that's just my take on it. It's just sad.
If they had a clue how to do that without it looking like they were going back to what we want, which therefore invalidates all of the creative decisions they've made for 20 years or whatever it is, they do it. They want to win too. Everybody wants to win, but they don't want to look bad doing it. And
they don't want to look
problem.
bad. Yeah. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. That's really the issue.
Very well said, gentlemen. We are going to go rapid fire, folks. We had intended for this stream to go about 90 minutes. Because of how the benevolence of this chat and this audience, we've gone significantly farther than that. And we didn't even cover the final story. Oh, by the way, that means, Ron, I'm going to need you to join me real soon to cover this Gizmodo article on Galaxy's Edge and how wonderfully it's doing. So, Ron, I'll be reaching out to you, along with getting you on Tiana's Bayou Adventure early. We're going to have to get together to get that video done, because it needs to be covered. Folks, we're going to go rapid fire. It's not because we don't appreciate these bonus chats. And for those of you who don't know what a bonus member chat is, oftentimes we will make these available to members of the channel because we're celebrating 70K. This was made available to everyone out there. Always before the pro show, check and see what if you've got bonus member chats available to you. They'll be on the community tab. We're going to go quickly, though, to be kind to our guests who are going to need to bounce very soon. Alan Holmes says, as a member, by gift, a very large thank you to the people who help us. Fixed income old people to feel like we are not forgotten. Maybe we can't go to or see every movie and show, but instead we can get more entertaining content from the pro team. Truly the force is with all of you. And, you know, that is the joy of watching those gifted memberships, is that you're helping people like Alan hop in and be a part of this party. And we can't thank you enough for the gifted memberships. Thank you, Alan, for being so cognizant and being so forthright in your thanks. Aaron Costa says, Pro is authentic. More people should learn from him. Thank you for the show. We're just trying to be humble and bumble our way towards the truth. Enrique Vasquez says, thank you, Pro, and the panel for all that you have done. I used to be very apathetic towards Star Wars and would think that I was wasting my money buying Lego Star Wars. But tonight's discussion has brought back hope. Enrique, as we always say, in Star Wars, there's always a new hope. Rita Sara says, at this point, can we make Emperor Palpatine like Kenny in the first 5 to 7 seasons of... They already did that, Rito. They did that with the latest movie from JJ, where he dies and comes back every time. If Star Wars is going to be bad, then at least be funny bad.
Oh my God, they killed the Emperor.
Ryer Goddard, thank you for watching The Acolyte so I don't have to. Your sacrifice is duly noted. Corbin Bear says, now they are again licensing huge chunks of their library. What do you think Zaslav's next move is? Oh, that's a very interesting question. And I think his next move is hoping, praying that Superman lives up to the hype and the hope of the day. Space Dave 2000 Epic Universe meetup with Pro, TPP, and gang in summer 2025. Well, Space Dave, as some have not known, they were meeting with me at the theme parks all along and just had no idea who I was. Even on occasion when I've been with Lorena Creole. And
but I'm gonna give you a clue. He's not someone who says it's the antithesis of Walt Disney.
I don't say that. No. But it was funny one time. I was with Lorena at Epcot, and we were talking, and this one person slowly turned their head towards us, and I thought, switch to British accent time. Switch to British accent time. Justin Sinsnick. Lou, when are you, Lorne, and Hangry going to cover Unstoppable for the genre, guys? It's underrated.
Well, we've got a backlog on our official list right now of about 10 or 12 movies, so we'll see about getting it in there sometime after that.
That's right. Chuck says, Star Wars has gone the way of Tarzan and Zorro. There's a chance to save Marvel still. Well, we'll find out. I don't think Thunderbolts is going to do it. Karen Owen says, nobody knows who or what a Skywalker is anymore. No, they do.
Karen, it's gotten to the point where the only people who really remember a Skywalker are the people using walkers.
Yeah, true that. Sorry, panel, for feeling old. Blake Pace says, thank you, Pro et al. One major reason I subscribe to this channel only is that I know I will not be bombarded with F-bombs. Well, Blake, that's been something we did on purpose from the very beginning, is we want this to be safe for work and safe for when you're driving to pick up the kids at soccer and take them back home or wherever. You know that you can turn to Pro, and we will give you a space where you can hear the truth without having to worry what's going to come through the speakers next. We will not embarrass your mother. Richard Martin says, if the Acolyte does fail, what does this mean for Lucasfilm? Will Disney dismantle it quietly and put Star Wars out to third-party developers, or will they keep it going despite that being hard to justify from a commercial perspective? Well, I don't think they're going to willow it, but at this point, it may be the end of Kathleen Kennedy's vision, and it could be the end of the High Republic. And I really, really do mean that. We've had people.
The problem is how they'll measure fail, because remember, there's no box office here. It's, did we increase subscriptions to Disney Plus or not? And they're already playing games with that, with all these deals with the cable companies and this kind of subscription.
Publicly, they'll never tell us. They'll never tell us.
Exactly. And they don't have to. So, you know.
Butter Biscuit. Still love the name. I love these conversations, but if I never heard or had these again, I wouldn't care. Star Wars is dead, muerto, and I don't ever see it recovering. It's run by nothing but dummies. It's over, kaput, hanged on the altar of wokeism and female empowerment. Go watch anime like the new Haikyuu movie. Be encouraged by young men in positive situations and be moved by the positivity. This is so rare these days. I'm hopefully seeing it this weekend. I won't stop raving about it until it's out of theater. Well, Butter Biscuit will be happy to cover that real soon, we hope. Let's check and see how things go. And Kocho Dragoon, Dr. Kocho says, I am surprised Disney showed the ending scene of TBA. Guys, help me out. I miss it. I'm foggy at the moment. What is TBA? Help me out.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Good grief. You know I'm foggy when I'm not pulling that one. As it is because they know it's more of that market desperation, yet I'll respect those who like it. But at the same time, why would pixie dusters go out of their way to mock or shame anyone for criticizing, but then change their mind? After all, nothing wrong to be skeptical. I think pixie dusters only care about what's causing more division than common sense, and apologizing for not commenting as much lately, especially today. He's playing Fortnite with Wilton. Oh, not Wilton.
Kocho, remember what the DA and I were just saying about they can't admit they were wrong? Well, same thing.
All right, folks, it's time to go around the horn and say goodbye to our friends just for the time being. Be so thankful, folks, as I am for these panelists, because not only did they deliver an awesome show, they doubled the time that we anticipated being here, and they did it with a smile and with joy and pleasure until afterwards. They may let me know what they think about that in the future. But they've done such a grand job, folks, and we want to give them their time. Ron, tell the folks out there where they can find you.
Follow the Bradley's Fun is the name of our YouTube channel. It is a family, primarily a vlogging channel. I'll be, like I've discussed with some of the panel, be doing more of these type of just shows, discussion type shows, and I want to do some essays thing. I don't think I'll ever put together such a show as Jenny Nicholson, where she puts together a YouTube 4-hour video that gets more views than Wish could ever hope for. I mean,
without the cookies.
Without the cookies. But tomorrow, as long as I can finish the editing tonight, I have another update on Tiana's Bayou Adventure with the scrim, the construction scrim down, what it looks like at night. I will. Let me tell you, I got to say a good thing about it real quick, and that is the fact that there's one part of it that I like, and that is that they finally have the firefly effect. It won't work for more than a week, but I like it while it's there.
At this point, we just hope it doesn't smell like sewage, because it's going to start all kinds of memes.
Oh,
Derek,
Epcot's been horrible about that.
Derek, you're a rising star on YouTube. You have you're a wunderkind, I tell you. Tell the folks about where they can find your meteoric channel.
Derek Anderson, the DA, is the name of the channel. You can check it out. I basically just rant on entertainment all day long and anything that's going on in Hollywood, video games, television.
You don't just rant. You rant to a level of ranting that boldly goes where most rants would never go. You are the classic ranter.
Folks,
Derek
and Mexican Iron Man. Derek and Mexican Iron Man are the only two in that category.
That's actually what I was about to say, Pro.
Read your mind, Lou.
If you want to see rants equal and exceeding Mike's Star Wars lightsaber rant, you got to watch the DA every damn time, because that's how good it is.
Whoa, what a compliment. Nolan, tell us where you are on this great, big, beautiful web.
All right, so you can find me at Nolan Thunder, youtube.com. I cover lost media and video game urban legends on my YouTube channel. And since we have a pretty good audience right now, I'll go ahead and say it now. The next episode of my Lost Media series, Lost in the Files, will be covering Slamfest 99. It was a live event held at the MGM Great Adventure, I believe, in 1999-ish. And we're going to be going a bit deep in some of the mysteries and the search, because it was one of the first ever live streamed events and is still not been recovered to this day. And also check out membership-wise, that Park Place. I'm on a show called The Lost Guys with Hangry Tables and Martin Stone. We recently recorded an episode on Superman Lives, the canceled Tim Burton movie. So that should be coming out here soon. So get those memberships and check it out.
Fantastic. Matt, where can we find more of Vincent?
You can find more of Vincent to my right, asleep right now. And he'll be back. You can find my latest short story, Starseed and the Beaver King, at the riverhillstraveler.com. And
wonderful.
Can I show a rifle? Would that demonetize us?
We probably shouldn't. Let's
thing?
play it safe on that one and say no. We've run the gamut. We've done the labyrinth of YouTube things you should not do.
I'll save it for the backstage. Yeah, we've done enough. But thank you so much. And Vincent will be back. I'll make
Vincent
him watch
shall
the
return.
Acolyte, not me.
The
He will watch
Ginger
the
Cat
Acolyte,
voice
not
of
me.
legend. That's right. He'll
Right.
give his review. Two paws down.
That's right.
Marvin,
paws
you have ingratiated yourself with our audience in a very short amount of time. They love you. Tell them where they can find more of that lovin'.
Oh, I appreciate that. So I have 2 channels now, actually. We just launched a new channel this week. So my first channel, the one that I'm
Quit
most
trying to
known
be a
for,
show off, Marvin, okay? Quit
I
trying to
know,
be a
right?
show off, you and your 2 channels.
Do I hear 3? No, I definitely do not.
Must be 2, no more, no less.
Yes, one to embody the power, the other to crave it, which is literally what my channels are right now. The one that embodies the power right now is Tooneytown Wrestling. We take a comedic look at pro wrestling with comedic puppet style content. Consider it the Muppet Show of pro wrestling. We got the Headlock headlines. We've got our Face Lock features. We've got a live show every Tuesday night called Toonie Talk Wrestling. And we just launched Tooneytown TV, which is going to be movies and TV and video games. We have a Kathleen Kennedy song parody up there, set to Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee from Grease. I just posted the first ever movie review I ever did, which was about a year ago, as like a pilot for what I wanted to do of The Flash. We're going to be we also have our Toonie Talk Wrestling show live Wednesday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be clipping that and putting it on Toonie Talk TV as well. And I will let you guys know what I've got coming down the pipe. I've got 2 new song parodies written and recorded, just have to be filmed and come out at a time where it's decently relevant. We have done a song about the Acolyte called Leslie to Sandy from Grease. To keep with the theme, and we did one about Rings of Power called "Heaven is a Place on Middle Earth" to "Heaven is a Place on Earth," and one of the only people on Earth who has heard that is Lou Wasserman's Ghost. He has gotten a sneak preview of "Heaven is a Place on Middle Earth,"
and it is, and I just thought of another one you should do. Go greased, greased Tiana. Go greased flume ride. Instead of Go Grease Lightning with your grease thing.
Love it.
Just came
Lauren.
to me.
Lauren, tell us where people can find you, and make sure you unmute before you do.
I'm glad you reminded me. I would have started speaking without doing that. You can find me at Lauren Connor on X or Twitter, and you can find me at Lauren Connor 9030 on YouTube. And of course, we weekly do the Genre Guys movie reviews and discussions every week.
And as we wrap up, folks, Lou, could you tell the folks out there about the Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you?
Oh, well, that's Vash Sky and I on our new 3rd channel, Pikers with only 2, which is called 3PO. What is it? 3PO. It's
That Park Place podcast online, but folks, you can find it at that Pod Place.
Anyway, there's a rumor that I know a bunch of stuff about Hollywood, and people have questions and they ask and I answer. And our brand new one that just went up is a physical tour of the 30-mile zone. If you don't know what that is, tune in and find out. And of course, as Lauren was saying, we are happy, along with our Hangry Table pal, to do a movie every week that you may have forgotten or may remember. And they show up here for members only. But then after 2 months, they show up on the new channel, freebies. So either way, we get you coming and going. And I just wanted to say to that person who asked the question about going someplace without any F-bombs, in this show tonight, you can see what we replaced them with. A couple of the best pieces of tail you've ever seen on YouTube. And I do mean the cats.
Well played,
so,
well played.
That's the yin and yang of all of that cleanliness is next to felineness or whatever. Anyway.
That's right. All right, let's bring up a couple of, actually several to be more correct, super chats that came here at the end. Draco is in here with $5. And let's see here. We've got Princess Fiona. All my exes live in Texas. That's why my hat is in Tennessee. And we also have, coming from Sutton Creek Productions, Disney doesn't even know how a lightsaber works.
No, but they know how to sell you pieces of it that you put together yourself for a lot of money.
Yeah, go check out how that worked on the Galactic Star Cruiser when Ray put one down to pick the other one up, and you'll see how that went.
Yeah.
Sick Lid for 10. Empire Strikes Back was not George Lucas. A New Hope was a mess and had to be saved by a long list of people. I think praise for Mr. Lucas is undeserved. Cichlid, you've went and sabotaged the ending This deserves 30 minutes of conversation, but I tell you what, let's save it, and we'll bring back the panel one day in the not too distant future to talk about whether or not George Lucas deserves the credit, the praise, or perhaps is it Marsha? We'll talk about that real soon, Sick Lid. Thank you for the super chat. You have inspired us to do a video on just that. But folks, it is time now to say sayonara, but not for long. Do not fret, not yet, for more content is coming your way 3 times a day, because thrice is very nice. And folks, don't go anywhere, because we're about to pull off one of the best boosts you have ever seen. We are about to send you to Floral from Under a Rock, where they are playing Fortnite. I think Wilton might have 2 people watching him, which is, I think, appropriate for Wilton. We're going to go blow their minds by sending you all. And so I just need you to go do a pro raid. Everybody, let's have a great ending to a Friday. Let's all go do a pro raid together and mess with Wilton. And I think that will be the absolute best way out. As we leave today, folks, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And as a reminder of how the press goes with Star Wars, as we get ready to watch the Acolyte PR blitz happen, here is how they did with Star Wars Outlaws. You tell me if it's successful.
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Let's go!
Jabba, right?
Oh no! It's a Sarlacc!
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
Guys, this is one of, if not my most anticipated game of the year. Anything that's got me going pew, 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 you know, sign me up.
I gotta say, the concept of this is enough for me to go, I might even pre-order this.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint!
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.